Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel.
Boom! What's up, everybody? Your old pal Billy Tucci here, leading the Brofessionals for this Thursday, the 16th of September, 2021. So we'll get right to it. I'll bring in the bros. We'll introduce the bros, and then we'll start talking about tonight's subject. And today's subject is the mainstream comic book media, have they done a coordinated blackout on CG projects, on Comicsgate projects? Now, for those of you who don't know, Comicsgate is a fan-led movement of people who kind of just retaliated against maybe this forced diversity, the changing of characters for gimmick's sake or money's sake. And they just, I guess, want to get back to good old fun comics. Many creators have jumped onto it as well, onto the bandwagon, if you will. And it just seems to be from my experiences, a really fun, freewheeling comic book fan base that has embraced comic creators, and they're just looking out for good content. That's my own personal experience with them. But without further ado, let's bring in the bros. So I gotta save one of them though. Man, let's go down with the young man first. How about this, ladies and gentlemen? The one, the only, the man, proudly waving that black flag, Mr. Dan Fraga. Fraga, boom!
Good evening, Billy. Good evening, chat. Happy Thursday to you. Just working away. Working. I got my fancy get up.
Dude, I don't even know.
Looks weird, right? Like it's a dance glove.
Yeah, I didn't even know you want to do that.
No, it's weird because I got this one to draw with, but the funny thing about working digital is this tip of my middle finger, I always use it as a guide for when I'm doing detail, and I found I kept, even with palm rejection, I kept putting lines where I didn't want to, so I made a little guard for this.
Oh, there you go. So it's like a little smudge protector, even digital.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm going to bring in probably the most technical savvy of us all, probably the sweetest man in comics, I'd have to say. But ladies and gentlemen, the wraith of the Brofessionals, the one, the only, Mr. Aaron, or as they say down south, Aaron Lopresti. What's up?
Technically savvy? Wow, you made a mistake. I may be the sweetest guy in comics, but I am not technically savvy. No, I get all my knowledge from Fraga Boom, man. I don't pretend to know anything. I know my wife, who's extremely smart, but
there you go.
I just draw pictures with a pencil mostly. Throw a little color on here and there.
Same thing with me, dude. I play with levels on Photoshops, and that's about it.
Yep, just enough to I know just enough about Photoshop to be dangerous, and that's it.
There you go. Well, all right. Well, I got to introduce this person because this is his turn, and I think we're all hoping that he gives us a tagline. But I'd have to say the first man that joined me in the chat. I mean, in the first man who joined me on the stream this today in the green room back there. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andy First Man Smith.
Look at these four people.
Hey, man, devastation.
I got to say, when you said technically savvy, I was like, well, I know Aaron's not.
Yeah.
Graham is a little bit. I think Graham and I are about the same in the technical savvy aspect, so maybe it's one of us. And you said Aaron, and I'm looking around going, Aaron's technical savvy? Did I miss something over the past 20 years?
Aaron's like me, man. We don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I know.
I think what Billy was saying was that he's savvy by a technicality.
There you go.
All right, so let's move on with, ladies and gentlemen, probably the magnum PI of the Brofessionals, the of Wednesday nights, the man who will be shooting all sorts of crazy fully automatic firearms this weekend in Vegas. So it'll be gambling, it'll be drinking, it'll be shooting guns. What's better than that in Vegas?
Babes.
Without further ado, or don't, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Alien Alamo, the protector of the Alamo, the one, the only, Mr. Graham Nolen. What up?
Don't forget the ancient one that's sitting back there in the green room. The ancient one awaits.
Yes, the ancient one who has just arrived from 10,000 BC.
If he's kicking it with Raquel Welch, then I'm okay with him. Okay,
that's 1 million. Wait, that's a million. Yeah,
he may be black and white, ladies and gentlemen, but he is coming to you in full color with a little salt and pepper thrown in for good measure.
Baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, old Four Eyes himself, RT Bear. What's up, RT?
Old, just old.
Just old.
I can put the 4 eyes on, but I don't need them for the stream, so they come off. So.
Well, I there's no one that can top Graham's intro, man. That machine gun thing was a blast.
It's true. This Sunday, I'm going out in the desert in Las Vegas with a machine gun package. I'm going to be shooting all kinds of fully automatic weapons.
Yeah,
I've got a machine gun package, but it shoots blanks.
What are you gonna shoot at? Because I know they have like watermelons and sometimes other things like barrels of.
Yeah,
things.
I don't know. All I know is that I'm guaranteed 5 explosive targets. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, my daughter goes out to the LA. Well, it's actually the desert, like the high desert in California. With an ex-military friend of hers, and they just shoot up the dunes, man. And there's certain areas that people put like cars and there's stuff out there to shoot at. And there's human I guess mannequin bodies and stuff, and you can obliterate those and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. She videotaped, and she had some kind of automatic, and she did really well. She's like, bah, 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 bah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Graham, you're gonna be like Buddha, 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 Buddha. I hope you got some cigars. You're gonna have a cigar in your mouth when you take a picture with that Tommy gun.
I'm thinking of bringing one. It says no smoking, but I might just bring one as a prop.
No smoking, but you got hot shells flying everywhere, and you're shooting exploding targets.
Yeah,
you're shooting lead into.
But no smoking.
No smoking.
Maybe they'll let you shoot a 50 cal.
He's gonna shoot a sniper, right? A Barrett or something?
Yeah. One of the options was, but this one was too expensive, was to shoot a 50 cal from a helicopter.
Oh, no way. Yeah. Well, you're not doing it, so I got to ask what that cost.
I think it was like 12 grand.
Oh.
No, not 12 grand. 2 grand. 2 grand.
2 grand.
Yeah,
still, that's pricey.
Remember
I looked at Julie. I said, because the guy says, do you? Because when I said what I wanted to do, he goes, well, do you want to shoot from a helicopter? And I looked at Julie, and she goes, no.
hey, you know what? It's certainly cheaper than other loads I've shot.
There you go.
Whoa.
See,
I've been up in a helicopter.
5 minutes in.
Aaron, I had to.
I know you did. Hey, let me say something really quickly. I apparently have Art to Bear's Texas internet tonight. It keeps coming and going.
I saw that.
Drop out. I apologize. I'll come back as soon as it comes back on. But
we might though leave up Frozen Aaron throughout the show though.
Yeah, that's right.
Just for good measure.
Wow, I've never seen that much personality out of Aaron in a long time. Oh wait, he's been frozen for 20 minutes.
Well, you know what? Also, $2,000 to shoot things out of a helicopter. Now, when I was in the service, we were in helicopters a lot, and I can imagine shooting some out of a helicopter because it's got to be tough, But then again, you could be like the guy in Full Metal Jacket. I mean, remember when he said, how do you shoot? Remember he's up in a helicopter with the dude with the door gunner, and he goes, how do you shoot women and children? And the door gunner says, easy. You just don't lead him as much.
Oh.
It shows everything that was wrong with Vietnam.
Yeah,
that's awful. Anyway, so guys, we're here today. Everyone, I want to welcome everybody in the chat. We got TJ James, we got Old Dirty Fatty, we got Dr. Mask Retro Excelsior, Mad Ruth, Lloyd Burton, Man, Adino Caligula Palacio. Man, yesterday's fool, our old pal Statistical Zeros here.
Oh yeah.
Stat Z.
Yep, and he says, look at that. Graham's doing giant-sized two-fisted manly tails research.
That's right. This is a tax write-off,
baby.
Yep.
That's right. Heck yeah, it is.
I spoke to Bo Smith today, and he said him and Tim Rozon turned in their script, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Andrew Paquette is working on that script.
It's all coming together. You got yesterday's fool. Anyway, guys, we love you guys, every one of you. So my point today is that a few weeks ago, about a month ago or so, somebody suggested that I get the blue check on Twitter. And the blue check is that where you go and you get verified on Twitter, which when you send out tweets, more media things pick it up, stuff like that. You get higher exposure with your tweets, with your responses, with your comments and all. And I look at Twitter as a business thing. So I was filling it. I'm like, all right, sure, why not? I filled it out. And then it says, for people like us who may be public figures or, comic creators or artists, it's to, you have to show 6 months that you have been in like 4 articles or something like that in the last 6 months of them talking about you.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, that's easy. I have a 3,000 mailing list with all the mainstream comic publishers, mainstream comic presses on CBG, The Beat, Comic Book News, comicbook.com, Newsarama, all of them are on, a Screen Rant, things like that are all on my news, letter list. And I send out my press releases almost weekly, pretty much weekly I do. So I went and checked and there's nothing. We have it like Critical Blast is awesome. I got something from Critical Blast who covers us all the time. My friend Richard Boom, who has I think it's called Comics and Sinners. He's out in the Netherlands. He's a
good dude. I know him.
His website Bleeding Fool had something on me. But that was it. And I'm like, what is up with this? So I started doing research and looking it up and checking out Fraga Boom, checking out Graham, checking out Andy's thing. And seeing that, I know you guys and Graham, I know you're sending out press releases and stuff like that. And I don't see anyone picking up that Alien Alamo just crossed $108,000. When you said that, nothing, nowhere. Now with me, with my crowdfunding in the past 2.5 years, we have grossed over $780,000 on my campaigns, and nothing. And I'm sending a press release. She Haikyo just crosses $200,000. She Haikyo crosses $100,000. She Omnibus crosses $250,000. Nothing, not a peep. So I was curious, and I was speaking to my partner Niall Scala about this. I think I talked to Dr. Blevins too about it, and I'm like, it's very interesting. That is there a media blackout on, say, Comicsgate. Now, for those of you who know that the Comicsgate is this fan movement of people fans that kind of rejected this notion, I guess, initially of this seemingly forced diversity in comics and pop entertainment. Changing characters, making characters female when they were traditionally male for, 50 years or so, all for gimmicks or try to make money, things like that. Instead of creating new characters, they're altering these characters that have always, that have become icons in American pop culture and comics. So
there's nothing wrong with diversity or anything, but just create. If you want a certain type of character, then create that character, but don't turn an established character like Thor into that character or whatever.
I mean, actually, Thunder, right?
Yeah. Just do it the right way instead of shoehorning it in on something that's already established. But anyways, I'm sorry. I'm
asking you guys now, the professionals, that you guys have all embraced the comic book fandom, which is fantastic. I found nothing but positivity from them. You're all quote unquote Comicsgate creators. I'm wondering how you guys feel about this. Like, we'll start with you, Dan. Am I right? Am I off my rocker? Am I being a conspiracy theorist or anything like that?
No, I think you're 100% right. The reasoning behind it could be a series of things. There was somebody on Twitter today that was going back and forth on that, how Comicsgate isn't news, and our numbers are still pale in comparison to the marketplace of mainstream, and units sold, yada yada yada. My brother's in the chat. I see my
I
brother
know. I
Rob.
just read that.
He's just jealous, man.
Is
It's
he
fine.
younger or older?
He's older by 2 years. He just turned 50. He's
And my
getting
boy Ronnie
tarp.
Frager's a veteran, right?
Who?
Is he a veteran?
Yeah, he was in the Navy. Yeah.
Oh,
Navy.
nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Take it away.
But I think it's a multitude of things. My rebuttal against it's Vickyverse, right? We've seen her in chats and stuff, and I don't dislike her, but I also think that she, for someone who doesn't care about Comicsgate, she sure obsesses a lot over it, right?
Mhm.
And what I said was the metrics in which she's judging whether or not something is newsworthy is completely wrong. She said her initial thing, because she retweeted your tweet, Billy, and she said, what are they going to cover? Unfulfilled campaigns and a bunch of angry people that are, whatever. And I said, how about some, balanced and unbiased stuff, and she's like what? You guys are nothing in this marketplace. And I basically said, listen, if your metrics are market share, then you're right. But the market share now is built upon the bottom line, units sold, but units sold to the retailer, and the bottom
Right.
line of the publisher, not concerning themselves with the retailer or number one, the customer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a friend of mine, Cliff Biggers, he owns a store out here called Dr. Nose. And I was in there, I don't know, it was about a year and a half ago, pre-COVID. And I was looking for a cover on something. And he's like, yeah, we got one of those. I said, one? He goes, yeah, it was like one per every 150 ordered. And I said, well, I wanted that cover. And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, what's going on with these other ones? And they're not selling, they're sitting. So yeah, if you look at the metrics of the bottom line, which is completely artificially enhanced. I mean, when you think about that, like they're not, the mainstream isn't thinking about the end, and the end is the customer. Right?
Well, it has been that way for a while, Dan. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like what the publishers are doing, the mainstream publishers mainly, is they're selling to retailers. They're not selling to customers.
Right.
So the numbers are never going to jive.
Because that's exactly my point.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm just trying.
Yeah. No, but the other thing I said was the well-being of creators. And she rebutted, I don't think people really consider the well-being of creators and stuff like that. And I said, you're absolutely right. Look at Wally Wood, arguably one of the greatest that ever did it. And in his heyday, he was, still wasn't paid great, but he was respected and revered. But he died a pauper drawing garbage comics and living a life of terrible health and took his own life. And even the Kirbys, if the Image guys didn't come along, they lived a modest life and they, sold originals that they had to fight to get back. But this is the guy who created the Marvel Universe. This is the guy who created Stan Lee, like that. If it wasn't for Jack Kirby, I mean, it's the mountain that we've been standing on and building our own empires. Look at these guys. So the fact that Comicsgate is thinking of the customer, there is more of a consideration for the creator. And I'm not talking like, oh, we need to be exalted or anything. It's just that relationship that we have. We care about the customers. We are customers. I try to back as many campaigns as I can as a fan, not just as a pro. So I consider myself part of the movement on every aspect of it. And I care about the well-being of everybody working, because I want them to keep working and I want them to thrive. And the fact that, I tell this story every now and then, but the publishers aren't there to help you. They're there to get whatever they can out of you at the bare minimum. And I remember in 2001, I was working on Wolverine, and I asked for a raise, and my editor said they couldn't give me more than 5%. Right. And I said, okay, 5% of what? And they said, based off your old 1996 rate, right? So it was like 5 years prior. Then my buddy won the Marvel Talent Contest, and he called me up and he said, hey man, I need to find out, since you've been in this industry, you know, at that point I'd been in the industry for 10 years. He said, is $210 good for penciling rate? And I said, yeah, not only is it, you know, great as a penciling rate, you're making $45 more a page than I am.
Yeah.
And I called my editor and I said, dude, what the fuck, man? The new guy off the street who's never drawn a single page professionally is making more than me because that's your entry rate. And I'm making $165 a page. And I've been doing this for 10 years. And he's like, that's Marvel policy. We could only give you 5% raise. And I said, then tear up my old contract.
Yeah.
Rehire me. Like, just rehire me. I said, rehire me at the bare bones. To me, it's a raise. He's like, oh man, no can do. And you just go, man, this is not good. It's not conducive to what's going on. Anyway, long story short, I feel like I'm watching my brothers and sisters. There's Vicky, she's in the chat. I feel it's so awesome that my brothers and sisters that are creating comic books are now actually making a living. They're able to have their finger on the pulse of what's going on in fandom. I know what my fans like, you know. I get instant response,
Right.
and I'm not creating, you know, a one in whatever variant to bolster my numbers. I give you the option of this one or this one, and if you like them, go ahead. Like you get, you know. I think there's a total of 4 on mine: a cover without color, another cover, a cover without color, but they're evenly distributed as far as
it's the consumer's choice.
That's absolutely right.
Like what Billy said early is like what they're comparing to the mainstream, and you're hardly anything within the mainstream. But what they're not seeing is that we're creating IPs. We're creating our own stuff. You know, this is not like Spider-Man or Batman or Superman. We're creating our own characters, and we're blazing that trail versus like so I don't think you can compare something that like a Batman that's been around for, you know, however many years, or a Spider-Man. These are
81,
all new
82.
These are all new creations, and also this is, I just don't think it's a fair comparison.
Well, here's the thing with me is and we'll move on. We'll go to Andy, of course, and we'll go around everyone. But I remember a few years back, maybe 2017, 2018, my DC rate for writing, I think, was $110 a page for my scripts. For my pages, which is pencils and inks, was $365 combined. I always did pencils and inks. That's what I did together. And then I think I did 20 comic book conventions that year, 22 maybe. And it still wasn't enough to pay all the bills in this house.
Right.
That I'm killing myself going on weekends, and then I'm working my ass off on pages, whatever. Say it's, I don't know, years ago. It wasn't 2017.
Well, Billy, if you sold one of those Mercedes, you wouldn't have as much payments.
Well,
how many motorcycles do you need?
Yeah.
Scale back,
one
bro.
motorcycle. I have no Mercedes. I have a 2017 Ram.
The coverage that I'd like to see, you know, answering Vicky's tweet, and obviously there's not enough time. I'm working on my book, and I don't want to be sitting there on Twitter, but right now I have the opportunity to do it. Is what can they cover? They can cover all of it. They can cover the fact that there's a paradigm shift in how comics are made, you know, and the trials and tribulations of it, the successes and the failures, you know. Mm-hmm. She mentioned some unfulfilled campaigns. Mine is one of them. I'm working on my book and working on fulfilling it. And that's a story unto itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to cover everything.
But Dan, your backers know where you are in that book.
100%.
So regardless of whether it's late, your backers know, and they're the ones that matter.
Yeah,
what the hell do some of these other people care whether the project is late? As long as the people that matter, the people that trusted you with their money, know where you are in the process, and they trust you're going to fulfill.
Yeah. I went
Yeah,
off my path. I went off the path just a little bit, though.
Yeah.
The main answer that I have is to cover the paradigm shift, because this happened. Anybody that studies comic history, I know Graham knows, but in '54, when Seduction of the Innocents happened, in '59, the big sort of crash, no new hires, and like the comics were in the dumps, and then the Marvel resurgence, and then down in the dumps, and then the direct market resurgence, and then the Image Comics guys, and now there's this, and it's an evolution. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not one of those guys saying the mainstream is dying. It also is evolving. I'm not one of those people that says manga isn't comics or Dogman isn't comics. They all are. They're all sequential storytelling as far as I'm concerned. But we are part of the landscape. And the point of this topic is, are we being, is there a big blackout? Is there blinders on what we're doing? And my opinion is absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And what to hammer my point with the independence is, like, this is the only place that I think it's viable to do indie projects. Like, we did Black and White in '94. I waited 25 years for this moment in time. I know you did too, Dan. We weren't all brave enough, like Billy, that stayed in the trenches and kept putting out independent books. But
Yeah.
The reason we're all doing this right now is it's viable. It's viable. It's not go to Image Comics is not viable. Go to Dark Horse is not viable. It's viable here. So I do think, like, it is different in a sense than the mainstreams, because they're not creating their own IPs. They're not doing that. We are here. So I think it is like it's a completely different movement than the mainstream, what they're doing. Yeah.
Good night.
The other, hey, have a good night, man. The other thing that I think is, Billy was talking about the fan movement and going against forced diversity. I am completely in alignment with that. But what really pushed me over the edge on joining up with Comicsgate and being full, like, all in, everything, chips pushed in, everything, was the cancel culture aspect.
Yes.
Right.
I was literally swarmed on negatively for buying Cyberfrog. I bought my friend's comic and was excited about it. I wasn't even really following what was going on with Comicsgate. I just knew this was my buddy's comic. I like him. I have history with Cyberfrog. And then next thing I know, my Twitter and Facebook are blowing up. How could you? How dare you? You're a hate monger. You align with hate and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm like, slow down. And then having people call me up and tell me they want to back out of my show, even though I'd already filmed their interviews. You just go, I can actually see why you'd want to resist this, because this is absolute mindless bullshit. It's, they call names like bigots and intolerance and all this other stuff, but there's no observation to go, hey, that guy's a good guy. Why is he over there? They just go, boop. They hit that mindless button of, oh, it's hate, it's this, it's that, and the other. They don't look into it. That, to me, that's bigotry. That's intolerance. So it's
there's things that they can't even comprehend. Like there was the Jay Lee cover with
Cyberfrog.
Tom King.
And then there was Doug Naples, Sean Gordon Murphy cover. Like they can't separate. It was just two friends doing something, like you buying a comic book. You just bought a freaking comic book. There was no politics. There was nothing deeper. There was no hate in your heart. You just bought a comic book. But they cannot comprehend that that's all it was. Like Sean Gordon Murphy did a favor for Doug TenNapel. That was it. He didn't necessarily believe with all his politics. He didn't, like we can all disagree, but we can still work together. Like Jay Lee is not Comicsgate, but he did a cover for Cyberfrog. You know what I mean? And then they try to crucify him. It's like guilt by association, but we're just friends. We're just helping each other out.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I believe everything. I don't believe everything you guys believe in. And yet we're all hanging out, you know, we're all
as it should be.
Nor should you believe everything. You know, I think you hit it on the head there, Art, with that guilt by association is a weaponized term that they use it doesn't go the other way. So like if you know somebody in the business and they know you're a good guy, but you're associating with a group where they think they're bad guys, they automatically think now you're the bad guy. You don't they're not transferring the goodness of you over to the other guy, saying, well, maybe that other guy isn't so bad because hey, Graham's in with them.
Right.
You know, it doesn't go both ways.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that you see. Sorry,
I'm sorry. That was funny.
I'm sorry. It's just I just totally lost my train of thought.
Art escaped Pompeii right before the volcano.
I was looking at it. Somebody posted.
He still got all that ash in his hair, though.
When Art had sex, it created the Big Bang.
No. That's the last thing that would happen when Art has sex. Come on, Graham.
Well, the Big Bang blew Graham's hair clean off.
Oh, damn.
Boom.
Boom. Anyway,
Fraga, boom.
But there was a thing that I saw somewhere, and on one of the newspapers, someone posted a newspaper that had made the Miami Herald. I don't know who it was. I forget on Twitter because, you get the notifications and how even the Miami Herald or whatever is covering Comicsgate, and they called it an alt-right movement.
Right.
I know anyone in the alt-right. None of my friends are in the alt-right. So I'm like, where the hell is this from? And I think that's what created this stigma that, you did it in the beginning. Now, I wasn't even aware of Comic-Gate in 2018 when all this happened. And, certain, there were certain people that were a little more, let's say, what would the word be? A little more divisive than others, and you get that everywhere. You get some Justice Warriors.
Well, because it's a large group with a bunch of different personalities,
right? And
everybody has their own personality, but you don't lump one person has this certain divisive personality, whatever. You don't go, well, that's everybody. I mean, and it's just ridiculous. It's like you said, it's guilt through association, which isn't right.
Yeah, the other thing, sorry for interrupting you, Andy. The other thing that is interesting and why I also am wholehearted, and I don't think there's a blackout, I know there's a blackout, is because there are people that are actively, for lack of a better phrase, patrolling mainstream things. And the reason I know
networks,
it's not just whisper networks. Like last year, a buddy of mine who I've known since 1990, he runs a promo company out in LA called Digital LA. They did a panel. They got to do a panel on San Diego Comic-Con about what have you been doing during the pandemic. And he got a cosplayer. He got LeVar Burton. He got me. Got another guy who does VR setups. And we basically, I was comics, they were cosplay. This was a voice actor who's also an actor. Other people. 2 days after it aired, my buddy calls me in a panic. You're part of a hate group, bro? And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? And he's like, I know you're not. I said, yeah. He goes, well, what am I supposed to do? Because he was freaking out because he had been contacted and hit up on Twitter and like, take the video down, even though there was not a single mention of anything hateful or bad. I was talking about how excited I am about working on my comic and, how I was talking about crowdfunding. All exciting stuff, and it was everybody laughed, everybody was fine. But 2 days after, he's getting complaints to take it down. You're supporting hate, and I said, no, dude, you don't apologize, you don't take it down. You and I have known each other for 30 years. You know me, and he's all okay, and he didn't. And guess what? It went away.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is they went after him.
Yeah. And that's a scary thing, and you talk about, Wortham and you talk about this mainstream assault, if you will, on, on indie creators. And I think what I kind of got, again, I came late to the game, I mean, I got in all that trouble. When I was on Twitter and YouTube with Ethan over Comicsgate and trouble. I don't really give a shit. Just people went after me. My first experience with it, but it just seemed to me that there was this major backlash, and it's true. I know it's true for a fact because I was told by friends of mine that it was, and Alana Smith did that tweet in October of 2016, and it said, regardless of the outcome of this election, you know, if you voted for Donald Trump, we will take note of who you are. As a warning to other comic creators,
that's a
of
threat.
Cartoonists, of writers, of pencilers, of inkers, and that was basically it. So it seemed to me that and check me if I'm wrong, but almost like this Comicsgate movement started by a lot of comics creators who may have voted for Donald Trump. And if you voted for Donald Trump, you were out on a rail. That was the perception of it. Is there any truth to that? I mean, because the Republicans, because I remember with me, if I may real quick, I was up for a big job at DC, and then I was flatly told by one of my friends who's a big time pro, and he said, yeah, we wanted you for this, but basically the editor said, I'm not going to have Billy on this project. I'm not going to hire Billy for this. And he's like, why? He's like, yeah, Billy would be perfect for this, you know, but the guy's a fucking Republican. That was in 2012. And the last time I did any work for Marvel was 2014. And if it wasn't for Jimmy Palmiotti, I wouldn't even have done it with that. That was, and I don't know anyone right now that openly works for the big two that voted for Donald Trump.
That's an absolute fact. And I mean, we can talk about, we're not getting fair coverage or whatever like that. The reality is this whole thing is political. It always has been, and it always will be. This is people that they perceive, either you have progressives who perceive people that either voted for Trump or just happen to be conservative, maybe didn't even vote for Trump, but happen to be conservative and might lean that way, as evil. And if they're in comics or movies or entertainment, which is run by progressives mostly, if you're conservative, you're evil. And so therefore, we have to do everything, not just to keep you from working, but to cancel you from society because you are evil and must be stopped. And that's what they believe. And it's not true, but that's what they believe. And then they dress it up with selective moralism, okay? Oh, you're a white supremacist. You're a racist. You're this, you're that, which is BS. They know that's not true. They act like there's a Nazi under every rock. You couldn't fill a high school gymnasium right now with white supremacists and Nazis that live in this country, okay? It's BS, and they know it. It's all politics. That's all it is, and that's all it's ever been.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason I'm here, and like today, I just went like 2 hours of just going off basically what we're talking about now. And the difference, okay, sex, religion, politics. I was raised, you don't talk about those three things. You're always going to get strong reactions from people, always. So if you choose to do that, then there's going to be backlash, right? The main difference that's happening right now, and Dan hit upon it, is the cancellation of people. The actual try to destroy another human being because they have a different belief than you. Yeah. That's where I make the stand. Fuck everybody that no one's going to agree on everything. No one. There's two parties. There's all these religions. There's all this stuff. We're all going to disagree. That's okay. But when you try to destroy another person, when you go after Joe Bennett, when you do these things, that's where you're fucked up. That's where you're wrong. You're completely wrong. That's where your politics and all your other shit fall the wayside because you have to cheat. To make your point, you have to try to stack the odds in your favor by cheating and lying to get one over on people. And that's why you're wrong. Well, and that's why you will fail, because there's no truth in what you're doing. They are complete fabrications and lies.
Well said, Art. Well said.
Yes, well said. Absolutely. And they should be ashamed of themselves if they had any shame. Because I saw that thing now. Again, I've been kind of out of it for the past 2.5, 3 weeks. And it's all the fun with Aaron and Shelley, damn it. I came real late to the party. But the thing is that, again, they should feel. What is that?
All right.
I think it's you.
Oh, my God. Me?
Yeah, it's gone now.
Okay. So the thing is that they should be ashamed of themselves, but they have no shame at all about this. Now that thing with Ewing and Bennett. Okay, I don't know either of those guys. If I had a problem now, from what I understand, is that Joe Bennett is Brazilian and doesn't speak English. Okay, right? That's not his first language, whatever. He did a thing in the comic book, whatever, a Marvel book, with jewelry behind it.
Oh no, that's not that's not why Ewing canceled.
No, but isn't that how that kind of started it?
Supposedly, that's what started it.
Right. I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Sorry.
The thing is he had somebody else standing in front of one of the letters, and it ended up saying jewelry, right?
Right.
In the window.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think that Joe Bennett in Brazil, where he lives, that his local jewelry store happens to be owned by Jewish people. You know, that seems to be an American thing. That seems to be a thing that is in New York City, Chicago, things like that. That, you know, that there's the Diamond District. That's how I kind of saw it. I'm like, oh, the Diamond District. But I'm sure at a local jewelry store in Peoria, Illinois, it's probably owned by some guy named Charlie Jones or something, or who cares what their name is.
Right. Yeah,
it's almost like they perceive that's a perception, not on the artist's part, but by the guy Ewing's part. And then when he did the political cartoon, which I saw, which he was the right wing or the Democratic candidate or the new president of the thing, and he's swishing away these rat-like creatures who were the socialist, leftist, communist government that basically put Brazil in the shithole in the past decade. But because he drew them like vermin, which basically all political cartoonists do, and they've been doing, right?
Yeah.
That
yes,
this is perceived as anti-Semitic somehow. When none of those people were Jewish. None of those other politicians are Jewish. They're all Brazilian. They're probably Catholic, unless they're communists and they don't have any religion.
The people complaining about it being anti-Semitic are the racists themselves.
That's his perception. Now, I feel that, and now I would never call anyone that, but it kind of smells like this is how this person perceives these type of people.
You protest too much.
Right, exactly. Well, and the thing with Al Ewing is, I didn't know this. The guy's British. He doesn't even live over here. And I think this is where you were going with it, because I was talking to Dennis about it. If I saw a cartoon that Graham did and I had some objection to it, I'd call Graham up.
That's exactly what
I would not tweet about it like a puss.
Right.
And raise some social media stink about it. I just call Graham up and go, man, I saw this cartoon. But in all honesty, if it was a cartoon from 5 years ago, I wouldn't even give a shit. I just
and a political cartoon in another country that you have no horse in the race in.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a political cartoon in another country.
Now you know what Ewing's name though. Now you
I don't know
what
what he
Ewing's
writes.
name.
I've never read anything by the guy.
I've never even heard of him before. I didn't even know who he was.
So he destroyed someone's life.
Yeah, he got Marvel to fire him.
Marvel shit can Joe.
And again, you worked 50 issues with this guy, and why wouldn't you call him up and like, listen, I work. You work with I've had writers, on gigs.
Yep.
I have pencilers on gigs when I'm writing scripts. We talk on the phone all the friggin' time, or you send him an email, dude. What's up with this shit?
Right.
Oh, no, you put it out there on Twitter first that you refuse to work with this person ever again. And what did he say? The art speaks volumes.
Another thing too is it's all about
his mind.
It's also about the timing of it, because the timing of it is, Immortal Hulk's coming to an end, right? It's ending with issue 50 next month. When did he do this? Just a few weeks ago. Well, that's a little weird. Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you try and get Joe, have a big stink when issue 43 came out and you thought he was anti-Semitic because of a misspelling?
I'm sorry, the political cartoon was done in 2017. So
no, I know that.
I know, but I'm just saying when they worked together, that comic strip already existed. That political illustration.
Oh, but Al didn't see it
before he started working with Ewing. You know what I mean? Like,
but Ewing didn't see it then. So
that's a tactic. That's a tactic. When they went to cancel Frank Miller, that lady, I I discovered two things. Number one, she was a serial victim, that she actually did this 3 times. And with this one, she just so happened to have launched a Kickstarter at the same time.
Yeah, get your name out there.
How poorly did that Kickstarter end up doing?
I don't know. I'm not even paying attention to it. I'm not giving her one click.
Somebody brought up, man, it's going by so fast. You know, I'm a supporter of Jasper Plan 9. An echo chamber that we're all agreeing on this thing. Yeah, that's true. But this is the Brofessionals. I really, to be honest with you, I don't even think Jimmy Palmiotti knows what Comicsgate is or cares.
He knows what it is because I tagged him once and he told me to remove the tag.
Oh, did it's like, fuck you, Graham. Get off my damn.
Yeah, I'm sure Jimmy knows what it is, but in terms of high amount,
well, he knows what he thinks it is. Let me just say that he knows what he thinks it is.
Well, Jimmy's one of my best friends, and I spoke to him yesterday. Actually, I'm going to see him next weekend. Debbie and I, we're going to go out with him and Amanda in the city. And none of this stuff's ever brought up.
Yeah,
you know, and what we talk about is we talk about. Yeah, we talked about the virus. We talk about going on vacation. Talk about, man, you know, I need to get the hell away and go on an island somewhere and chill out. I need a damn vacation. You know,
right? I won't even talk about the virus anymore.
Yeah, about Jimmy. I'm sorry, about Jimmy. It's like it doesn't even matter. Jimmy's still your friend. Like it doesn't even matter.
Yep.
Like even if Jimmy is in opposition to all this, he still talks to you. He still hangs out. He doesn't try to get you canceled. That's the biggest difference. Like I have friends that I've known for 25, 30 years that have confronted me as, oh, you're Comicsgate. We feel the need to try to help you, Art. You don't really know what you're
It's an intervention.
You know, you don't know all this stuff. And then they use douchey terms like right side of history. And I'm just like, oh yeah, what this kind of psychopath even talks that way? The right side of history gets to decide what the right side is. You don't. Like what kind of Nostradamus are you? You already know what the right, you already know history.
You were friends with him too, huh? Yeah. You were friends with him. With Nostradamus, you guys were pals.
Yeah, we were good. We were hard friends. So I know, Dan.
No, anyway, I'm going to rear back and let you guys talk because I'm dominating. I'm talking too much, and I apologize if I'm overstepping on every. But Graham and I were at Terrificon last month or a month and a half ago or whatever it was, and I saw some friends, and I got one of them telling me, you know, Billy, I got to tell you, I'm just worried about you. You're just on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. Didn't say the wrong side of history. He said, this is going to hurt you in the long run. And I'm like, the long run? I'm 50.
Not a friend, though. Not a friend, an acquaintance.
I'm 54 years old. And you tell me this is going to hurt me 10 years from now in Marvel? Am I going to be 64, 65 years old trying to make a living with them? Is there even going to be a Marvel in DC 10 years from now? You know, it's just like nuts now. So I don't know, man. I just think there's a lot of passive aggressiveness going on. And then I looked and these people didn't, you know, the buddy of mine I was talking to, or the person I was talking to, they never supported any of my campaigns.
Right.
So I went and looked back, you know, so-and-so saying this, they're looking out for me. You know, they're looking for, you know, they want to support me and my friends. And I went back in all the campaigns and I do Kickstarter and Indiegogo and they didn't back any of them.
Hey, Billy, what year is it right now?
What year is it? It's 2021.
Yeah, right. So you said you hadn't worked for DC since 2014 and Marvel since 2007.
Yes.
How about that long run?
Yeah, how about exactly?
Yeah, where were you then?
Yeah. That's a long run.
Friend, where was he then?
That's a long run of nobody giving a fuck.
Yeah,
exactly.
And all I have to say about that, Ellie and Alamo, $1,000 by George, my friend. Your second campaign, damn. It went up even more. Look at that. You're closing in on $109,000.
Hey, Graham, you need another 6 in there.
That's right. You devil.
And Art knew the devil, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
I just need $60, folks.
But speaking, you know,
let me just interject something real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Aaron.
Okay,
go ahead.
Aaron,
well, I was just going to say, you know, the topic being whether we're being blacklisted by the major comic coverage and media. The real question is, does it matter? Because those people, I mean, how much influence do they have? I mean, who is reading that stuff? It is not mom and pop on the corner. It's only hardcore comics fans that are inculcated into the mainstream comics business. It is not our people. It's not the people we're reaching. I mean, there might be some crossover, yes. But by and large, we can reach more people through YouTube and through our own social interactions than we ever can on any of these sites. Whenever anybody has done an interview with me or anything on any kind of news media sites, I never see a bump.
Yeah.
I never see a bump in my campaign. But, you know, I go on a show and we interact with the fans directly. I see a bump. You know, so, you know, the real question is how viable. I would posit to us that they are as irrelevant as Marvel and DC is, because they're in the same that same orbit together, and they're just not relevant.
Aaron, you were saying something, Aaron?
Well, I was just going to say, I think there's some truth to what Graham's saying. I mean, we had this conversation. I think Art and I were talking on I can't remember on Andy's closeout maybe about you know, the effect of and Fraga. I think maybe we were all there. I don't know, but we were talking about, you know, someone endorsing a comic book, and did it really make a difference?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
right.
And person, and it's I got a little bit of coverage. I can't remember the site on. Told my son not to text me during the show. I tried to. I didn't ask for it. I got some coverage on. Oh, for crying out loud!
You raised him right, Aaron. You
Put it on vibrate.
I got it.
You're like the guys at my American
I
Legion.
I didn't expect to get machine gunned with texts from him after I told him not to.
All the Korean War veterans at my American Legion post, we have our meetings, their phones go off, and they're like, how do I?
Yeah, I know. Hey, turn this thing off.
One guy just got up and he put it outside Tuesday night.
Let it rain on it.
Left it outside. He didn't know how to turn his phone off.
No, but the point that Graham's making, I think, is completely valid. I got a little bit of coverage, you know, on when Wraith of God launched really strong, and I think it wasn't on one of the regular sites. You know, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was someone that was friendly to the independent market or Comicsgate or whatever. I don't know, but you sit there and you think, oh, that's kind of cool. I got some coverage, but what does it really mean? Is it like, I mean, all of you guys, I'm sure at some point in your career, someone in your local newspaper, when there used to be newspapers, came in and did an interview for you, right? And you're like featured in the entertainment section, or right? Local guy makes good in comics, you know, and there's this big article on you. We've all had that at some point, right? Did Bob Harris call me up and ask me if I wanted to draw X-Men right after that came out? No. I ran into a few people that said, oh, I signed the paper. I didn't know you draw comics. You know, nobody cares. Especially if you're doing what we're doing, when you're going directly to the customer. And Graham is right. We have a greater base to reach people on our YouTube channels and appearing on other people's shows than we do than these sites. I mean, granted, I'm not tuned in, but I haven't even heard of like 90% of these sites. And the only reason I'd ever go to one is if when someone was leaking information that might be, you know, of interest. You know
what the big test is? It's the Facebook test. The big test is the Facebook test. So when you know, I used to get decent numbers on Facebook, right? All across the spectrum, people supporting things and things like that. And so as soon as I went to comic books or to Comicsgate and threw up, it wasn't even Comicsgate. I never went like, I'm Comicsgate now. There was never that declaration, but there was Indiegogo. So as soon as I said, I'm thinking about doing an Indiegogo campaign, or I'm going to do the black and white Indiegogo campaign, all of a sudden my Facebook numbers and the support went down. And so I always think like it's the face, like Facebook is it's how you tell, right? Yeah. Your friends, your real friends from you're just the casual people, because they don't want to be associated with you on Facebook. They don't want to even click a like because it might get back to somebody. So
Right.
I've never been a Twitter person. I always thought Twitter was stupid and ridiculous, and I never understood it. So then I started like putting more time in Twitter and then in YouTube. And then all of a sudden you see things differently. Like people openly, I know Twitter has a lot of bad, things, but what I've noticed is that more sincerity comes out through Twitter, and real people than on Facebook. Like my Facebook numbers are in the toilet, but Twitter's going up, YouTube's going up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I do think there's like these little cliques that hang out in certain places
Mhm.
and they just don't want to associate with you. I think
You know what else is going up is your Indiegogo's going up though.
that's not mine.
No, that's not yours.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, but your Indiegogo's going up. I'm saying that. Here's Graham Nolen's
Art's like, that's not mine.
Why wish it was mine.
Refresh.
Oh,
Yeah.
666.
wow.
the beast.
You just
See, I
got
tell you right now, it's the
you
beard.
just got
It's the beard.
60
Burst into
backers.
flames.
You just got
Come on,
60
guys.
backers in the past. Oh no, $60. Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah. You said you needed
Mark,
one.
the
Somebody
P12.
said I needed one more 6. So that's Andino Caligula Palacio.
Dino, thank you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
back
share it again, but I'm
yeah.
gonna share with the audio because I didn't want to go over anyone's talk. But
Well, we do know Palacios is evil, so there you go.
Palacio is
Oh.
evil. But
Hey,
let's
Dylan,
do
look-
this. Hang on.
No
Unclick
Biden.
there it
Yeah.
is.
That's damn good music, man. We're gonna play it from the beginning.
Next time I'll make one with a machine gun.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Dog's eating one. I just saw that.
I never noticed that.
He's a hungry little pup.
They taste like crap.
Oh,
Hey, Graham, who did this animation?
It's Nick, but I always forget his last name. I feel
no.
so bad too.
Exceptional, my friend. Exceptional.
Is it-
So, yeah, someone had said about the beat. So I posted the beat up. Well done.
hey,
Thank you.
hey, you guys, I'm a good Irish Catholic boy. I can't be sitting at 666.
Yeah, come on.
We got it. Let's get that
Nolen.
to the 700 number so that I can sleep.
And poor
somebody
Julie
buy him a beer
Don't
and
go
get that.
low, Aaron. You got
Yeah, there you go. Somebody buy him a beer.
shoot high.
Poor
Yeah.
No. I've got enough
there.
beer.
What is going on?
Somebody buy a
You
T-shirt.
still got the mark of the beast, buddy. You still
Yeah, I
got it.
know.
It'll be over by the time this stream's over. It'll be up.
Who we lose?
We lost Dan and well, there's Art and there's
There
Dan.
we are. There we are.
Like,
What the
you
heck?
guys off?
Wow, you guys had to go have a little private conversation. I get it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
So I was sharing.
Do it, Mad Ruth.
I was sharing the beat because Heidi McDonald's a friend of mine. I've known her for 27 years now, and they had
Likewise.
this thing on the beat about beat comics culture, big website. And here's their crowdfunding about crowdfunding, and it's crowdfunding roundup, right? So I'll hit their latest ones, and it's projects we love. Now I was on Kickstarter, and we got a project we love with everyone. Let me see if this will work. No. Yeah, good. It does work. Okay. So you have several of their campaigns here. The supernatural thriller decay issue one. That looks cool, actually, don't it? There goes $2,000, and you could be a backer. So click on it, see how it did. And all right, $3,600. So they made their thing. Good for them. Okay. So they'll be funded with his 103 backers 11 hours ago. That's great. That looks cool, actually. The thing is, though, you go back. Let me go back here now. Go back to the thing. Here's another one, Bloody Knuckle, $5,000 goal, right? By Devin Ellis. Let's see how he did on his. Let's see here. Okay, so he's low of his goal. He's got 9 backers. Oh, it was canceled. So they canceled the campaign. That sucks. I hate to see that. But the thing is, you've got these campaigns that are being covered by the mainstream press every couple of weeks or so. This is old. Black is old, right? That's a long time ago. Oh, there's another Black. Okay. There was a Black comic, the other Black one from a few years ago. Then White was the follow-up. I think I pledged on White. I don't think
How dare they?
Yeah, it's been like 4 years, I think 3-4 years. And I don't know if that book came out yet. But what I'm getting at is that you've got these campaigns, and I'm sure they're all great, really great creative campaigns, et cetera, and all, but why not anything on you guys' campaigns?
Right.
That have brought in so much money, that have gotten so many backers. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at with someone like Ethan that's got 10,000 backers on a campaign.
Well, I started to try to explain Indiegogo to the mainstream is a red flag. So all you have to do is take your campaign to Indiegogo, and then everybody throws you under the bus at that.
So do you think it's an Indiegogo thing? Maybe they just are anti.
I do, because, like I said, my Facebook all I said is I'm going to take Black and White to Indiegogo, and then everything changed after that. And all the well wishers came out of the woodwork to try to straighten me out.
Well, that's the thing. Once again, we talked about earlier, it's all politics. And it's absurd to think that there's streaming or launching platforms that one is considered liberal, Kickstarter, one is considered conservative, where they're both owned by liberals, I'm sure, right? So it's like, but that is what has been created. Everybody who's evil launches on Indiegogo. Everybody who's good, my Halo, launches on Kickstarter.
Right.
And it's like, it's just absurd. I'm on Indiegogo, one, because I know you guys and I can get a wealth of experience from you. And two, because they have better features. They have the in-demand feature.
Yeah.
You have these different things you can do that prolong your campaign and help it to be more successful.
You know what the main difference is? I can't believe they didn't think about this at Kickstarter. They might do it now, but when I did my first 2 Kickstarters, they didn't have backer numbers. So if there was any trouble with any backer, you had to go through all the lists to find the person. It wasn't even in alphabetical order. It was just as they backed it.
I think they do it now. I think they do
it
it now.
I think there's backer
They got
numbers
that
now,
from
I think.
Indiegogo, because Indiegogo was the first that I've ever seen do it. And it was probably a year between my Kickstarter and my first Indiegogo. So I think Indiegogo started really listening to people, making a platform that was more user-friendly. And and then Kickstarter, had to go, oh, well, we need to compete. So we'll add some of those features.
Yeah. So I just want to look at, Stippling Vaughn, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Screw them if the mainstream is snobs of CG. We have the Pop XP that has the potential to be the central hub for CG news. Wow. CG and Pop are growing fast. Indeed. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat and buying Art a Thibert or beer that he just had a little burp in.
Oh,
salute. But yeah, so do you guys? It's so funny because I think that Indiegogo is owned by the same company that does GoFundMe, and they are a progressive company. So,
but they're smart enough to know that it's it's business.
It's business, and it's art, and that's the thing. I get people that give me crap for some crazy reason that I do Kickstarter. Well, I did Kickstarter first. I did exclusively Kickstarter before Ethan told me about Indiegogo. I had no idea about it. So you know what? I have a built-in Kickstarter audience. And again, on the last campaign, we had, I don't know, almost 900 backers or almost 1,000 backers on Kickstarter. And we did $96,000, almost $97,000. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to walk away from that.
Well, when I went from
Kickstarter. You talked to Debbie about it.
Right. When I went from Kickstarter. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all my, it's my wife. She's the one that runs a campaign,
right.
And it's happy wife, happy life. I'm going to tell
The
him.
thing
to
is,
walk away from that.
it just is like I don't know if you got this, Billy, but so you have your mailing list, at Kickstarter, you have that base that you created over multiple campaigns.
Yeah.
So I contacted them and let them know that Black and White Volume 1 was coming out, right? And so I probably got 12 to 15 people saying we don't support Indiegogo. Like they flat out were like, we don't support Indiegogo. So, I think a couple people are saying it's political. Well, what is that? That's political. Like they're thinking that it is so different than Kickstarter. Like one's progressive and one isn't. It's like, well, no, one just doesn't get in the way of commerce. One doesn't get in the way of business. Right. The other one, wears it on their sleeve. They virtue signal up the yin yang, which is Kickstarter, which I don't have anything against personally, but they have been known to gatekeep. They have been known to bounce people out of, their platform. One was, what's his name? Zach, your boy, they bounced that guy out. Mike S. Miller.
Well, the people they hire as the liaisons to the comic community are known ideologues, leftist ideologues.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you stand behind that?
Well, it's like politics first and then business second, right?
Yeah.
We got to make sure we got the right people on our platform, and then maybe we'll make some money, I think that's it. It's so funny. I had a conversation with Brian Polito, and when I was first doing Kickstarter, and Kickstarter encourages you to have some kind of like American Idol kind of story, like some kind of sob story, like I have a crippled uncle, or like something like that. They kind of want you to do, and they think it's human interest, right? But to me, it was like, it is e-begging, like, because these platforms early on, I've been doing this long enough that I got the label, oh, you're an e-bagger. But the thing is,
oh my God,
e-bagger. I've never heard that.
You've never heard that? So
No.
when you go in there, you're thinking like, well, I don't want the sob story. I don't want to sell my project based on any kind of heartstrings.
Right, of course.
I just want it to be like me and my project. That's all I want to speak for.
Yeah.
That's it. So I didn't do that. And I remember I saw Brian at a convention. I said, Brian, I think it was just as I was setting it up. And I said, Brian, how did you get around this? He goes, I just didn't do it. Because I thought you had to do it. You know what I mean? Like, because I was so naive. Because Kickstarter is kind of really pushing this. And then he said, I just don't do it. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it either. So I was never comfortable with what they kind of try to push you or guide you to do, at Indiegogo. I mean, Kickstarter. I'm sorry.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
That's
I never heard that.
Yeah, I never noticed that. Like I said, I'm different than you guys because I've had nothing but great experiences with them.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I didn't have bad experiences. It's just what I was comfortable with and what I wasn't.
Yeah, and if you're comfortable, like Brian Polito, he's so successful on Kickstarter, he doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
He's so successful on Indiegogo, he doesn't have to do anything. But I don't think it hurts anyone to try another platform. So if you're a Kickstarter and you do your Kickstarter, you know what? Do a follow-up campaign try it on Indiegogo. What do you got to lose?
Right.
It's business. You have to approach this like a business. That's how I look at it. And I guess that's why I got frustrated about the perceived blackout of my books, of my projects.
Sure.
Because this is business. This isn't how business runs. Is it? Are we in business, or are we in the middle of an ideological, bubble? What are we in? What is this that we're trying to do?
That's what we are in. People are not making. Yeah, read Queen Bee. This is actually really good.
This is a good story. Yeah.
1313, as someone who was born on the 13th, I came across CG.
Oh no, that's not her first one.
Oh, there's another one. Oh,
no,
she's got like 4 or 5, and you have to read them in order.
Okay, hang on, Queen Bee. I will chop out of this. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me find her. Hang on. Whoa.
Yeah, because it's a really good story.
Sorry, Queen Bee. I'll let me see if this is the first one. Hang on. Is this the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Queen Bee. I'm shaking as I type this. Okay. Oh my goodness. My daughter was diagnosed with brainstem tumor in September 2007, and she passed away in 2008. I am so sorry. I can't even imagine what you must go through and what she must have endured. Her make-a-wish was to be on set of High School Musical 3. Okay, let me go down to the next one. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Let me just double check that this is the second one. Okay. So that we could, as a family, have something to hold on to after she passed. She was number 26, and they were limiting to 20 wish kids. Oh, geez. No exceptions. So Megan never got her make-a-wish fulfilled. I came across CG in 2018 and backed the first cyber fraud campaign only at the basic tier. It was only after EVS opened his variant campaign that I emailed EVS requesting if her offer would go to the next one.
If he would offer her.
I'm getting all messed up here. Where is it? Queen Bee. If he would offer her, hang on, Queen Bee. I'm sorry. You'd have to pay for these. Right? If he would offer her, right? Or did I miss another one?
No, you missed the one before that.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
The survivors tier.
If he would offer the survivors tier to me, so my Megan could be a survivor in cyber fraud. Oh my God. EVS responded right away and said that he and Andrea could and should open that tier to me. This is equal to me fulfilling Megan's make-a-wish. That corporate denied. This would not have happened without Cyberfrog, EVS, and CG. Hell, CG, and Indie. I backed 3 out of the 6 on this panel. Thank you so much, Queen Bee.
Thank you.
What a bunch of haters we are. What a bunch of people we are.
Thank you, Queen Bee, for sharing that story.
Yeah, that's
God bless you.
You just
terribly sad, but incredibly inspiring at the same time. It's just
yeah. I mean. And that's a thing, because I don't know anyone that's a hateful person. I don't associate with hateful people. I don't hang around with hateful people. I have friends that may give back just as much or more than they get. But I don't know anyone on this panel or any of our other friends that we're close to or compadres, whatever, that don't go after people initially. It seems that they're always in a response, and then it seems like certain people just don't like the response that they get.
Well, and that's just it. When they attack, that's fine and dandy. But when you dare question back or come back at them, then it's like, whoa, 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 what are you picking on us for? And it's like, what are you talking about? You threw the first punch. You know, I mean, I've told my wife, I even tell my daughter, I'm like, look, don't start it. Just be nice, be respectful. But I mean, if somebody comes after you, then that's a different story, you know? And it's just ridiculous.
Well, it's funny. They start a fight to get their ass kicked, and then they cry about it. You know, it's like, don't start the fight.
I had this guy start a fight with me. I'm not going to get into the details what it was about, but then later, his wife came and she said to me, she goes, "I don't want there to be any trouble." And I'm like, talk to your husband.
Exactly.
Reacting to the fact that he's pushing. He's the one instigating everything. I'm just reacting to it. So then, you know, in her eyes, like I was the troublemaker, you know, but I was just defending myself.
Right. We got another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Joe Bernardo. We feel the respect from you as creators. You also have no agendas and tell us you don't care about what we think. Make mine the Brofessionals. Here, here.
Yeah.
Here. Thank you, Joe.
Huzzah, Joe. Huzzah.
And you know, the thing is, too, so getting back to where you're talking about Andy and Art, that you guys are saying, is that these people that go after you, for one reason or another, never stood up for themselves when they were kids, it seems. And they were picked on. Now, I'm small. Not small, but I was one of the smallest kids in the grade. But I never took shit from anyone, because my mother told me not to do that. Or my older brothers, they would have beat the crap out of me if I would have let someone do that. So then people learned real quick in me growing up that I'm going to stand up for myself. These are certain people that never did. And there was always bullies back then. Yes, there was. It was a form of natural selection back then. You look at the way you grow up in elementary school, middle school, going into junior high, the girls all like the big, strong football player, you know, whatever. That's primal, I think, on their part. You know, that's a primal thing. That's something that, without being taught, that maybe evolutionary or something within them teaches the one sex to be attracted to the next sex for survivability of the species or whatever. It happens in all the animal kingdom. It happens with birds, and it happens with mammals as well.
You know what I say? Like when my daughter would get picked on or whatever, I just say, you know what? It's fine. It's okay. And then I would tell her, I would say, like, if somebody goes up to you and says, you're not good at kickball, it's like, well, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like they're doing you a favor. So you're not good at kickball. Go into something you are good, because that person that tells you you're not good at kickball, there's probably somebody else that tells you you're a great artist. You know what I mean? Right. So like society ends up kind of telling you where to go. You know, sometimes it's not always good. It's like from a bully, you know, they want to get rid of bullies. And I think there's abusive bullies, you know, but then there's just people that say, hey, you know, you suck at baseball. And it's like, well, yeah, I suck at baseball, but, you know, I can draw. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or whatever it is. And then there's equally people that say, hey, you're a pretty good drummer, or whatever it is too. So it always is balanced, but just blanketing everything as a bully, oh, you're a bully, isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's abuse. There's somebody kicking the shit out of you every day, you know, because they're a bully or whatever. Right. That's different. Abuse is abuse. Breaking the law is breaking the law. You know what I mean? We have laws against those things and rules. But if it's just like, hey, Four Eyes, hey, Shorty, hey, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, no shit, I'm short. No shit, I wear glasses. You know what I mean? That's what I tell my daughter. It's like, you're just pointing out the obvious, Einstein. You know what I mean? Why? Don't let it bug you. Don't let them see, you know, where your goat is hidden. It's like, it's just kind of like, no shit. Yeah.
And the sad thing is, though, it seems that, you know, that you grow out of that. The bullies, and then you get past it. These people seem to be still that they never stood up for themselves or whatever. They still hate that 12-year-old bully.
Yeah.
That picked on them. I'm sure that bully's moved on. And someone kicked the shit out of him or whatever. You know what I mean? He opened his mouth up one too many times and he was taught a lesson, say. Yep. But these bullies were children. Now they've grown up. These people, these toxic evil people that are on Twitter that are just there for the negativity and just to attack and just to throw shade on everything positive and good, they've never grown up. They've never let go of this. That's a mental issue, I think.
Oh yeah, and they're emboldened by the anonymity of social media,
and they can hide behind this because you know what? I'm on Twitter. I'm Billy Tucci.
Right.
You can find it, but they have names like, I don't know, you know, Lightbox Man, Lightbox 5050. You know what I mean? So then they can sit there and type away as keyboard John Gotti's and then go out there and effectively destroy people's lives and their careers.
You should trademark that, Billy.
Keyboard John Gotti.
Well, that was Frank Thierry's did that. Frank Thierry called that. A fan said that to Frank, and Frank goes, well, you know what? I'll meet you. How about this? The next show I see you at, where are you going to be? I'll meet you out in the parking lot. And that was it. Then they went to Frank. Oh my God. They went. Anyway, we're coming on an hour and 20 minutes. I'd like to run through the campaigns real fast. But next thing, and we started to harp on this, Graham Nolen, if there is a media blackout on, say, Indiegogo projects, on, say, CG projects, does it matter?
Well, I think I already stated, I think they're irrelevant. I think that the comic book media feeds to the same
people,
the same people over and over and over, and there's no bump from that. We can do a better job in getting the word out and having our fans help us by getting the word out because we're all part of the same team together. You know, it's not corporate driven; it's personal. And, you know, I could care less about getting media stories when I can create my own on my own show or on my own social media and reach a lot more people. A lot more people that are willing to, you know, follow me.
Billy, can you give me full screen? Because the best way for me to promote my campaign is just to show what I'm working on.
Oh, absolutely. So. Okay, so just Robert Romano, once again, $5. Thank you. Thank you. That's $10. That ain't cheap. Creators are their own best promoters, Graham Nolen. Check out Comicsgate.
.org.
Oh, .org. Yeah.
Why
to get the latest?
I like the dollar signs of dollar, and get the latest CG videos and lots of projects every single day, every damn day. Comicsgate.org. All right.
Yeah, I think you can subscribe to get an email daily or every other day or something.
Oh, damn.
Dude, I love that layout for that page. I saw that and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see that finished.
Dude, look at that face.
I just love the layout of the page and the black flag. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but dude, I got a question, Dan.
Yeah, man.
Where are you gonna put the word balloons?
John Malin will help me out. He's the expert.
That's gorgeous, man.
Hey Dan, last night on my show, I got a super chat, and the super chat was, "Did you agree with Malin about the word balloons on Fraga?"
Yes.
Fucking, oh my God. I love it. You know, Ethan said it best. He said if John is complaining about someone's artwork but is finding things wrong with it, that means he's jealous, and that
Right.
makes my day.
Oh man, I feel a CG Royal Rumble coming on. We had 6 a.m. comics on.
That's right.
Last week, earlier this week, Niall and I just talked about all his work, that great collage he's working on, and everything. And we're gonna do a show. I don't know if we're gonna do it next week or the week after, but he's got a big show planned, a big fight night, big Saturday night brawl.
Awesome.
But we're talking to him about doing a pre-event for next Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and
that'll be fun
after Graham's show, and that'll be like a little preview battle. Maybe it'll be Fraga and Malin. I don't know. We got something.
Hey, well, that's what Fragtober is all about. So this month,
word balloon war. I don't know, man, but I think it'd be a nice, cool match. Invite you guys on, and we all do the commentary.
Well, he's the current belt holder of Fragtober.
He's got so that could kick off Fragtober.
Yeah, we can talk some shit. But you know, Shane, all you guys need to come in and do it. You know, and for on Thursdays, whenever we do Brofessionals, I'll only be able to do like an hour because I have to. Fragtober is every single day.
It starts at 9, right?
Nice.
Usually starts at 9, but mine's going to be it's going to start at 8, except for Thursdays, which will start at 9 because I'm not doing this show.
All right. Well, I got some super chats, if I may. What is I hit that mail?
You may.
Shane,
you may.
coach. I don't know that. All right. So we got some super chats real quick. Randy Howell from Canada,
Whoa,
$10. That ain't cheap. Speaking of wayward values, 20 years of reality TV shows like Survivor and Big Brother have normalized the idea that being conniving and deceptive is cool. Guess what, guys? Randy Howell will tell you it is not cool.
It's not.
It is not.
It is not cool. And then, of course, we got our boy Statistical Zero. Let me see if I can hit that.
Stat Zero.
I got Stat Zero.
Stat Z.
Stat Z. Let's go find his first. Where is he? Come on, Stat. Here we go. Stat Z. Those other campaigns are getting mainstream articles, and it isn't affecting much. You guys are killing, and with the marketing. Your numbers reflect it. I just wanted to tip the host. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Stat Zero.
Stat Zero's awesome.
Well, on that note, what Statistic Zero said is like I think Bill Burr said it, that the media isn't really covering the president. Biden, they're still looking for Trump stories. You know what I mean? So they're trying to shoehorn Donald Trump into everything. So because they know if they drop Trump's name, they're going to sell. They're going to get attention. And I think like the mainstream industry, since it's the topic, they like to talk about CG because it's the same thing. It's titillating. It's interesting. It gets people listening. Where if it wasn't, no one cares. You know what I mean? So like we have like that kind of appeal. Like it's popular, it's working, but it's taboo at the same time. We can't support it at the same time. But yet, if we put it up or we talk about it, people get interested. They all start typing in. They have points of view. They have interest in it. And I think that's what CG is. And I remember when I've been in CG since almost the beginning, and I'd have these conversations with people, and they go, "We don't like the drama. We don't like the drama. We don't like the tension." And I said, there's a certain amount of drama and tension that's good. You can have that, and that gets people interested. When it's destructive, when you're going at each other, you're tearing each other, limb from limb, that's not good. So a little, it makes it interesting. It makes it titillating. It gets people's interest. And I think that's what Comicsgate has going for it as well, is that there is a little bit of like, it's taboo, it's dangerous. I think, was it Carl? I can't remember his name. Carl, maybe Dan remembers, but he said it's punk rock,
Yeah. Outlaws,
Billy,
man. We're
Billy,
outlaws.
can I answer Jeff Stout here?
Yes, please. I'll read it first. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jeff.
please.
For the $5. Can your local comic shop buy into campaigns? Do they? Have any local comic shops reached out to any of you to carry your work in their stores? Thank you for that super chat, buddy.
Well, the answer to that, Jeff, is in both of my campaigns, I had retail level perks where I discounted the comics so that when they sold the comic at the same price that I sell it, they make a nice profit on it.
Mm-hmm.
I also reached out to retailers to let them know about that, and it was a resounding flop. They didn't seem interested in carrying the books, even though, yes, it's a high price point that they would have to buy it at, but at the discounted price with them selling it and the other thing was every retail book would be signed. So now it has extra value for them in their store, because if they live in Peoria, it's not likely I'm going to be at a convention there to sign folks' stuff. So they could have that comic there at their shop signed by me and sell it for the same price I sell it, which is like $25. But if they bought it for $20, that's a $5 profit. That's a heck of a lot more profit than they're going to make on a Marvel or DC book. And I had a few go in on the Chenoo, but not many, maybe 2 retailers. I put it up on Alien Alamo. I had no bites and I took it off.
We got another super chat. Son of Liberty Radio. Love that name, bro. Ron Moore's got a lot of coverage on his Zoop campaign and didn't make any money. They don't reach passionate readers. Read earlier my super chat, Billy. I missed a super chat of yours.
Oh.
For shame, Bill Tucci. For
I
shame.
mean, I think the problem was with the whole Zoop thing is it's new, it's not proven yet, and it's tough. It's a new business. It's a new business.
Zoop seems to be the lazy crowdfunders, the guys who don't want to do the lifting of going out and being the face of your project. Because isn't that what Zoop offers? That they'll take care of all.
That's just it. Zoop does offer that. They say, because they get a bigger cut of it and
who's going to do a better job than you?
Right.
And who's going to be more passionate? You have more knowledge than you.
You look at some of the people that are on Zoop, and you see how many Twitter followers they have and stuff, and you think, for somebody that has that many Twitter, like if I had 10,000, 15,000 Twitter followers and was blue check marked and stuff, I'd be like, whoa, yes, but I don't. I've got like 2,000 some followers, and my YouTube is getting higher and stuff, and I'm really happy with where I'm at. So
you're here. Yeah, I can't find that other super chat.
Aaron, you're muted. Aaron, you're muted.
I owe you $5.
I don't see another super chat.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I see them as they go by.
Talking in edgewise. I muted myself.
My dog was barking. Aaron rant right now.
Okay, well here it comes. I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
You should full screen them for the rant now.
Look at social media numbers do not equate to sales. They never have and they never will. It's very easy for someone to like something. It's much harder for them to go and buy something. And right. I would do this. I would post, like if I had a new print, like I was going to do at a show, right? And I'd put it up on social media and say, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this? Should I make this into a print like I do a pencil drawing, right? The one that I got the most likes by 5 to 1 has been colossally my worst selling print of all time.
Well,
and that was the one that got
tells you to draw a naked man as a print.
Okay.
You're just busting your balls.
That's true.
I think what we should all do on social media is like what DC did with Robin. Let's kill one of our main characters. What do you think? Yes or no? I guarantee you it'll all be yes, because people want to see if you're actually going to do it or not. That's like what people want is people don't necessarily have your best interest in mind. They just sometimes they just want to see a car wreck. You know what I mean? They just want to see if you'll actually do if you'll make the worst decision that you could. So like it's the worst print you have, it doesn't do very well or whatever, and they're like, that's the one. That's the one.
All I know is in the Chenoo and Alien Alamo, a lot of people get killed.
Read this book if you want a high death count. But I was trying to get in when I was muted that about the retailer tier, because I think that's an interesting thing. And I haven't offered a tier, but I do have a couple of retailers I'm pretty tight with, and they come to me and say, hey, can I get a few books for the store? And what I've done was tell them, yes, I'll give you a discount, but you don't get the books until all my customers have their books. Because I think that's bad form that we have the customers come in, or the backers come in and back the book, and then someone else has an opportunity to get the book before they do. I mean, that's BS. So I just told them, I said, look, you're not up against any competition, because there's only 2 stores that have contacted me. I said, you guys are the only guys who are going to have these in your stores. So you get them as soon as everybody else has got theirs, and you can't discount them. You have to sell them for the $25 that I charged my backers. Now, granted,
you know what would be cool? What would be kind of cool, because plate changes don't really cost a lot, is to offer store exclusives. Mm-hmm. Yeah, store exclusive covers, and if they buy a certain amount and pay for the plate change, that they can do it that way, and that way they are the one that has it.
Well, it's interesting. Somebody told me this. Another retailer told me this that I have a great deal of respect for, and he said, and I thought this was interesting, because he had some other people approach him about carrying their creator-owned book, or their crowdfunded book, and he said they're not real keen on it, because they kind of think that everybody that wanted the book probably backed the book. So if they order 20 copies in their store, maybe
that's what I heard too.
That's ridiculous.
I've heard that too, and I agree with Graham. I just think that's ridiculous.
That would make the assumption that those 20 people in his store in Peoria, or wherever it may be, were connected to us somehow on our shows or anything else and knew about this campaign. I'll bet you dollars to donuts they didn't even know about the book.
And also, I'm tired of this excuse, because the thing is, you're a salesperson. Sell it. You know what I mean? Like when people say I can't sell it, then I'm thinking that's your job. Your job is to sell things. So what the hell? How many retailers? It'd be like somebody saying, "Could you draw?"
That's the problem with local. That's the problem with local comic shops. They just assume, because it's mostly Marvel, DC stuff, they don't have to sell it.
Yeah,
It'll
they
sell
don't.
itself. But then when they get a high ticket item and it doesn't sell, and I'm not saying one of ours, I'm just saying in general, if they buy a high ticket item and it doesn't sell, and it's like, well, that didn't sell. Well, dude, if I'm a shop and I'm buying something that's a more high ticket, I want to do my best to sell that damn thing.
Right.
I'm going to pimp it. Everybody walks in that store, I want to try and pimp that thing because I've got more invested in it.
Right. I had an art agent, and he repped me, and I had some choice artwork, and that's all he kept talking about is the choice artwork. And then I told him, I said, I can sell that. That stuff sells itself. I have a 30-year backlog. I have that work. That's what I want you to sell, because this stuff is going to sell itself. And so, and I said,
you're not getting a piece of it.
and I just said that I'm going to give you 6 months, and if all that sells is this stuff here, then that's a breach of contract, because that's the easy stuff to sell. And so we took that off the market for a while, so he could, sell the other stuff. And he didn't know how to sell it. He wasn't a salesperson. So then, I just wanted to kind of show good faith. So I put my artwork, let him rep it, sold through the roof, not any of the other stuff. And I said, well, this doesn't prove it. This just proves exactly, well, let me back up. It proves what I originally said, that you can sell this stuff, but it sells itself. So you're not even really a salesman, is the point I'm trying to make. Because I think a good salesman should be able to sell whatever it is that he is selling.
The only person who's going to sell it is you. No one's going to be able to sell it like we do. Because a lot of comic book retailers, I don't know too many comic book retailers that are good salesmen. I don't.
I do.
I don't know them that push your books. I found out that I remember when I first walked in with number one, to try to sell to the shops, I got turned down by a lot of them. Then all of a sudden the book explodes, it becomes the hottest thing, and now they're all calling me. So they don't want to sell it, but when it's hot, then they want it.
But my point is, I mean, like Dan said, there are good retailers, there are good people, they know how to sell things. So I don't want to make it seem like that's what I'm saying.
You're right.
But there are people that call themselves sales. This is what I do. I sell stuff. and they have no idea how to sell it, or they open up a retail store and they don't know how to sell comics. They just either listen to Diamond or the publishers, and they do that type of thing. And I just think like it would be like you're an artist and somebody asks you to draw something and you say, I can't draw it. Well, you're an artist. You should be able to draw it. You know what I mean? That should be it. It shouldn't be used as an excuse. It shouldn't be a valid excuse. Let me just say that. And I think that's the problem overall with most of the industry, is most of the industry thinks it should sell itself. Like somehow magically you do a book and it should just sell. Well, what we found out, and I found out, after joining CG and starting to do some of this e-begging, is that that isn't the case. Like if you don't get out and you don't sell it, it's not going to move, period. And I think a lot of us work for the mainstreams and we hid behind that. And also we paid the price for that as well, because there are good intentioned people that work at Marvel and DC, but let's face it, they've done everything in the last 20 years or so that have been counterproductive to the sales of books. They've never expanded the market. If anything, it just kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And so the only way we're going to get page rate increases, the only way there's going to be a better way of life for everybody in the industry is if those people do their jobs. Those are the people I feel have let down the entire industry. The people that are taking, $100,000 a year, to sell, their books, and Marvel and DC, but really didn't. And then the one thing, I had a conversation with Dan Jurgens about this, about like, we were working on a book. It was great, Dan and I, and then it got canceled. And then the press wrote stories like somehow it was Dan's fault.
Oh,
what I mean? Like Dan was the one that was responsible for the book not selling. Well, the thing is, it was a good book. I don't say that about a lot of stuff, but it was a really good book. It was a good series. And the thing is, the people that were putting the book out let the book down. Yeah. They didn't get out. They didn't advertise it. They didn't promote it. Some things will sell itself. Spider-Man, Superman, whatever. But even Superman, when I was working on it, didn't sell itself. We hustled. We built it into something that people had to take notice. But I assure you, it wasn't done by DC. It was done by Carlin and everybody working on those books. So I think that's what.
Well, I had a situation. I know I brought this up at one of our shows, and forgive me, but did I tell you the story that when I was doing Sergeant Rock at DC, and I was talking to their head of marketing guy, and he said, yes, and we want to get you on NPR and on, oh man, he might have even said like Rachel Maddow or something like that, right? He might have. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'll get on that. I said, but in the meantime, get me on Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh too. And he said, no, it was Chris Matthews. It was Chris Matthews and NPR, he said. And he goes, guys like Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly, they're just going to use the veterans to get their own political point across. That was his response. And I'm like, first of all, because I would go on and talk about Sergeant Rock with the World War II veterans because the book was based on them. Like, these veterans don't take shit from anybody, And second of all, I'll go on anyone's show to promote this book. You should go to all parts of the of your audience. And enough for nothing, the people that are going to buy this book aren't really going to be Chris Matthews or NPR fans. They are going to be Bill O'Reilly fans that are into history and stuff like that. Those are the people. And nope, they wouldn't even have it. And they didn't even reach out. They didn't even reach out to NPR or Chris Matthews anyway. I had to
throw as much out there. Throw as much out there. You never know what's going to happen. I'm sure we all experienced that in our campaigns, where there's just like, you go on somebody's show or you think this is just going to be a dud. You know what I mean? Because whatever, X, Y, Z. You go on there and then you click, you hit an audience, and then your numbers go up. I mean, those things do happen. That's why you should never kind of like snub your nose, like do everything, do it all, get the word out there, because you never know if it's going to pay off or not. You never know if you're going to find a new audience or whatever. And the way I look at what we do, it's kind of like, it's turf, right? We have this turf, and every inch that we move is hard fought. Like for one backer, man, we're on like 2 hours, like talking, like everything's like hard fought. And so I think that's how you build your audience, because also that one person that backed you in that 2 hours or whatever, that person, you got through to them. They're going to stick with you. You know what I mean? So that's better than if like 50 superficial people jump in and then they forget you the next day. I think the reaching those people and then having them loyal and then just keep building from there, it's more solid. And I think we're all doing that right now.
But we could do more. And Jasper Plan 9, no need to apologize, please, whatsoever. He's saying that we should reach out to retailers more, call them up, contact. And that might be that. I think that would be a great future professional shows. How do we now how do the professionals, NCG and other crowdfunding books, Indiegogo books, Kickstarter books, how do we now get into and take over the comic shops? That's the next for the professional.
Well, he indicated there that there's a lot of CG retailers out there, CG friendly retailers out there, but it's a lot easier for them to find us because they know who we are. They could reach out to us. We'd be shooting and pissing in the wind trying to find out who they are. When my campaign went up, as I had mentioned, I put retail things out there, and I reached out to retailers that I knew to let them know and advertised it. And it did not go anywhere. So if I didn't reach any CG advertiser or retailers, it wasn't for lack of trying. But there's also a cost benefit thing. I can't be on the phone calling 3,000 retailers trying to figure out which ones are what. Right. Which ones. They know where I am because the campaigns are out there. They're on the social media and they're following us. If they don't reach out to say I'm a CG fan and I'd like to get your books, it's a hard road to
what the next step is then? The next step is now that Diamond has lost DC and Marvel, right? And I heard from Steve and Josh Cheppy that they're going to go forward and start to really push mainstream. I'm sorry, indie books. Right now we approach Diamond. What kind of deal can you give me? Compass Comics. I want to create Compass Comics comic account on Diamond. And next year, starting in 2022, after the Shanu is out, after Alien Alamo is out, after Two-Fisted Manly Tales are out, this is the books I have. This is my retail price. How do you want to do that? Are you guys interested? And give them a shot.
Well, but here's the other thing that I think that Jasper may be aware of, or I don't know, but the thing that we have to take into consideration, and I've talked to all you guys about this before I even started, and the problem is when you have backers coming in, fan support, they're buying books before they're produced, those people have to be taken care of first, right? And you don't want those people to think, oh, well, wait a minute, how come that guy in that comic shop is getting his book $5 cheaper than I paid for mine, and I'm one of the ones who funded the project? And that's always problematic. How do you keep your customer base that supported the book and made the book happen? How do you keep them happy and then still get the books out to a larger audience that didn't take the time or didn't know about it or anything like that? And so there's some, pardon the phrase, but there's some politicking involved there with trying to keep everybody happy. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. And that's kind of the rough road. I think to get it into shops, you have to navigate. How can I keep my customers happy without offending them and still maybe getting them to shop so I can get to a wider audience?
Well, if the mission is to get a wider audience, we create the campaigns that are these deluxe prestige books that you can only get on Comicsgate, campaigns through crowdfunding and Indiegogo, and then down the line you offer a retail version. Like Billy's saying, like the hybrid would be, we have accounts with Diamond. And while our hardcore fans are already sitting by the campfire with their hot cocoa and bourbon and cigars or whatever, reading our books, a year later, a new fan is getting the cheaper paper floppy version of it in their retailer. You know what I'm saying? So
I think what we're doing is we're doing event comics. We're doing something that they can't. So there's this like, work in progress aspect. Dan just showed, his page in development. So there's all these things happening. And I do think that there is a complete separation from retailer what they do and what we do. I don't think that they're necessarily coincide. Having said that, I have no problem with retailers, coming up to me and asking if they can carry the book. I don't have a problem with that, but I do agree with Dan where there should be a separation of the two. Like the books that we're doing right now are the bells and whistles books, right? These are the supreme books, and that should be the only place you should be able to get that book is in these campaigns, is directly from us. And then a different version offered, within a comic store. There's one thing,
like a collected version or something.
Yeah, what I want to talk to you guys, like in the future too, maybe on our Brofessionals, is just digital. Like for some reason that digital always keeps nagging at the back of my brain. Like this is the way you attract a bigger audience because there's less overhead and you can do stuff like that.
I use digital as promotional. I give them away.
Yeah, I think there's various points of view, but for some reason it just keeps nagging at me that it seems on some level that it's viable, and I don't know why, but I just haven't let it go.
Well, let me read it. Let me read the super chat. Randy Howell, thank you very much, $10 Canadian. What about bookstores? Is it profitable to sell a 100, 200 page black and white collection on newsprint for about $10? Forget the mainstream. Can we duke it out with manga? Do Indiegogo for color first and then black and white afterwards in retail?
I appreciate the sentiments and the detail of newsprint. Newsprint is actually not cheaper. It's
everybody thinks it is because it's newsprint.
Yeah, you have to. There are only a select few printers that can actually handle it these days. Yeah. But it's not cheaper. But a black and white version on decent paper is the sentiments of the super chat are spot on, but the details not so much. Black and white. In manga format, smaller, thick, it fits in and it can go into that sort of library. Great idea.
Yeah, and also, just quite frankly, I think we have more potential doing what we're doing right now than retailers do. I think we have more potential to reach bigger people, more people, and grow this than retail. I think the retail outlets have kind of stagnated, and they have their groups that patronize them and so on. But I don't see the growth potential there. So I'm kind of more leaning towards exactly what we're doing, and that's kind of it. I mean, there is a part that we've all loved retail stores. We all kind of grew up on that, and I'm not saying we don't pursue that or people don't pursue that, but I just don't think that it's that viable anymore. I think what we're doing is way more viable, and I do think this is the wave of the future. Direct to consumer. You see other businesses are starting to do this as well. Direct to consumer. Cut out the middleman. There's no reason like I said, I don't want this to be like Art's hating on retailers because I'm not. No, there's really no reason for it. There's no reason to either.
And what we could end up doing is watering down our brand.
Exactly.
And that's a slippery slope, because why should we compete with Marvel and DC and the people that produce the floppies? If the retailers are fine with that, they've got that product. They don't need ours in there as well.
I think
as a lower grade, floppy.
I think it's what Aaron had said, which is getting your ideas to a larger audience. I mean, that's the thing. Like, otherwise, it's the world's best painting in a forest that only a couple people walk by. You know what I mean? If you created a masterpiece, if your heart and soul are into that, you want to share it with the world. And if I've got a 200-page black and white manga format version of Black Flag sitting in Barnes and Noble, and it becomes some 12-year-old's favorite comic and changes his life, then hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think of it as an either or. So I want to be clear. But it's also like Graham said, I think the retailers have to make the effort, because it would really be impossible for us to even pursue it. So if a retailer came up and said, I want to buy 100, black and white volume 2 Man versus Machine, I would just go, okay, let's talk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say, No,
Yeah.
you
Of
know.
course not.
Yeah, because I'm like you, Dan. I want to get as many books into people's hands so they can enjoy it. So I still don't look at it as an either or. I think everything is on the table, but you know we have to prioritize things.
Mhm.
Right.
You can't put all the
That's
effort into everything. So I think at this point right now, if like Graham said, I think it's great, and I think it's good to repeat it. If anybody out there is a retailer, approach us if you want to take, you know, if you want
Right.
to carry these
If you're
books.
CG friendly, you know where the CG guys are. We don't
Right.
know necessarily where you are, because we're out there, and then we can start a relationship and
Right.
then talk about some business ideas to get more and more CG books into if that's what you want.
What I
Yeah.
would like is a middleman that is a distributor that is CG friendly that could make deals with us. Like
Well,
they
there-
could get into Barnes and Nobles, like they could distribute kind of like what Diamond did, but more of an exclusive with CG and the books that we produce.
Well,
Because
I know there are some people at Diamond, some very high up people at Diamond that are CG friendly. Just throwing that out there. So
Good.
we could talk
Look,
afterwards.
There's
Yeah,
this
that's-
old dirty super chat. Hit that up.
Yeah. What's he saying there, Dan Fraga? You want to read that?
You guys are going to sell books anyway. If the retailers don't want to get left behind, they better grab an or two.
Or two.
He's talking about the Shane Davis technique versus the John Malin kayak.
Art had brought up the point about digital and not kind of wanting that to go by the wayside because there may be some potential there. And I'm thinking of, I've got right behind me there. No.
Garbage Man?
There. Kit Carter behind me, right? I do those right now as single page. Yeah, back there. The chick with the ray gun and the bubble helmet. I do those as single page, like newspaper strips, full color episodes, if you will. And I know, Graham, you've got your Sunshine State, right? Mm-hmm. And I keep thinking, I wonder, I wouldn't do a full comic book because if you're doing your CG book, right, or if you're not CG, your crowdfunded book, whatever, right, and you're doing that, you know, you can't exactly be working on another one just for digital, right? And you don't necessarily want to throw everything into digital in one mighty swoop and hope that it works out. But if you had Graham, like you do your newspaper strip, right? And I don't know, you might be able to speak to this because I know you have it listed on some places, but you look at something like Substack, right? Or, Patreon or whatever some of these other are. And I'm kind of curious to think, okay, well, how much content, if I produced a daily strip, maybe just one a week, right? That's something I could do on the side probably, right? And put that up there for, $2 a month or $3, whatever it would be, right? Just to kind of, and see that over maybe a 6-month period or a year or something like that, and see if you could generate any income doing that. I mean, to me, that's kind of a way of kind of putting your toe in the water without diving in all at once. And not everybody's going to do that, right? I mean, you guys, if you don't have a daily strip or something, you wouldn't do that. But I know, Graham, talk a little bit about, I'm taking over your show, Billy, sorry, but Graham, talk a little bit about what you've done with Sunshine State and how you've got it out there in terms of digital formats.
Well, I've been all over the road with syndication with Sunshine State. I started it 12 years ago. I had a small syndicate get it into 2 papers.
Wow.
And it was a daily. And so, that's a lot of work for 2 papers.
Right.
So I pulled it from that and decided, well, I'm going to do this digitally. And so I started a website, sunshinestatecomics.com, to put it up there. But that wasn't, that was just getting people to read it type of thing.
Right.
And then I got approached by Go Comics, which is a subsidiary of a Universal Press syndicate, which does syndicate to newspapers and stuff. And so they syndicate it now digitally on their Go Comics platform. Now it monetizes through advertising and through subscriptions, but it ends up being like $100 a quarter, something like that. It's pennies on the dollar, but I do it because I love it. And every Saturday, that's when that's my morning. I write and illustrate a new strip posted up there for Monday's broadcast.
Well, I was going to say the key with anything that we're talking about, or everything that we're talking about, is advertising. I'm convinced that, like all of us, the art isn't in question. We can all do that. That's fine. But I really do think it's in the promotion and it's in selling, because I guarantee you, there's people that say, oh, well, digital doesn't sell. But I think if there's somebody that hustled and didn't believe that, I think they could sell, some of this stuff. So I do think, like, for me, like I keep saying this, I say it on my own show, with like Marvel and DC, expand the market, do your job, sell the books. Like I've learned within the last couple of years, just doing my own projects, it's all about that. That's first and foremost. You, like Dan said, you could have the best book in the world, but if no one knows about it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It just doesn't matter. So the key is selling it. And I believe if you believe in it, whether it's digital or whatever it is, you can find an audience. And, and then the other key is once you find your audience, then tailor the product and keep that audience happy. We don't have to make everybody happy. We don't have to make something that is universally loved. That would be great. But once you kind of find that niche and you find that audience, man, just hold on, keep them happy, keep making the product that they want. I mean, you can try new things every once in a while, but I wouldn't deviate too much from it, and then just keep that fan base happy. And I think that's what
we have now. I think that's what we have now, and focus on our fan base. The other things, will come. Like right now, our main priority is, yes, of course, explore the retailer aspects of it. Hope that we can get, a wider press recognition from the mainstream comics press. But we have to focus on the people that are here today, right now, watching this.
Yeah,
the ones that have support our great campaigns. Not unlike Andy Smith's First Man Learning Curve.
Woo! Woo! Yay!
Look at that,
32,680. Well, you got a little more.
Look at that. Got some more. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Andy, how long is this video?
It's in demand. That's the minute one. The second one with my wonderful voiceover is the 30-second one. So do that one. Okay. Everybody likes to hear me say, "Look at these four people." So.
Yeah, you go.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth. And now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. Look at these four people. He's a court villain known as Adonis. He'll do it. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2. Learning.
Damn, that's great.
Look at these four people.
Look at these four people. I've been watching. Look at me. Not to be a jerk enough, and I've been.
No, I don't care.
Watching aviation accidents and stuff all day for some strange reason.
Aviation accidents?
I fell down that rabbit hole of just like aviation, how pilots are able to save planes, but then air disasters. I think it's all from 9/11. I've been trying to. You get these amazing digital recreations, simulations of.
Oh yeah.
With you hear the pilots and all that, and I just been watching it, and then I click on now, and you just see more. Like this Alaskan Airlines plane that was flying out upside down, and just weird shit like that.
Wow!
But everybody out there, please, for Andy Smith, our boy, he is closing in on $33,000. Campaign is now in demand. He's got 503 backers. By the time Andy fulfills his campaign, he needs 1,000 backers.
That's right.
So let's
that
double
superhero book you will read, guaranteed.
And love.
Absolutely. So and some more because we've been going a little bit more. Let's go around a little round robin. Let's go to let's get a little bit of rage wraith going on here because I was digging Aaron's rage. Aaron.
I've cooled off.
A whole lot of
sure you have.
Today. There you go. How long's your video, Aaron?
It's 59 seconds. 58.
I like to hear that.
I could do lots of things in that amount of time.
Yeah.
Ask my wife.
Nice. All right, so you're at $82,000.
Disasters.
You're closing on $83,000. You have 2 days left. You're over 1,000 backers, 1,115 backers. By George, Aaron Lopresti.
Can I repair a little slight here? When you had asked who had done the trailer for Alien Alamo,
Yeah,
and I think it's for Andy's too,
and Aaron's.
And Aaron's.
And
Oh,
mine.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought the music sounded similar. The gentleman who did that, his name is Nick Grosh.
Nick Grosh.
No, Grosh.
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 I
Yeah.
want to talk to this Nick Grosh.
Yeah, Nick is very talented. I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure that we got his name out there.
Well, this is tremendous, Aaron. And just, nothing but nothing. Good luck with all your success. I hope it was worth it for you.
Nah.
Well, I'm recovering, but
That
yeah,
was a tweet, that was a tweet I saw. Good luck. Congratulations on all your success. I hope it was worth it for you. Somebody tweeted a comics pro. Great.
Is that one of those?
Yeah, super chat. $5 super chat. Beowulf 86. I spend hundreds of dollars on light novels and manga on Bookwalker. Most of my reading is off my phone nowadays. Art, digital is definitely on the rise.
How do you read off your phone? That's so tiny. Maybe I'm just too old to do that.
You got to get.
I can't
The
stand
Twitter
it.
bug's not working anymore, buddy.
I think what they can do is they can click on the panel and it blows up. So
It
you
does,
see it in
but
entirety, and then you can blow it up so you can read. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go round robin to another bro. Let's hit this one again. Danny Fragaboom, talk to us, bro. Talk to us.
Well, this is my comic book Black Flag. I created it in 1994. I wanted to create a book that had all the elements of the things that I enjoyed as a kid, whether it was militaristic action, manga styled anime babes, big giant purple gorillas, aliens, Doctor Strange, magicians, mythical, mystical, magical, high octane action, and the great thing about being able to draw this book and write this book is you can write pretty much any scenario. The geisha character is sort of my female Tony Stark, and there's espionage involved, but there's also ninjas. So if I want to, dip into drawing ninjas, and I can go over there, or if I want to draw some paramilitary action, I can dwell on Sniper's Pass with the land stormtroopers, or if I want to draw some cosmic stuff, I can work my way over to talking about Rascal, or I can create an event like Pineapple Perception and blend it all together and have fun with it. So that's what this is. It's wish fulfillment at its fullest. And like I said earlier, I'm a fan first, and the reason you see so much effort and love in this stuff is I'm making myself happy, and I basically feel like if I'm getting to a place where I just can't stop, like when we had to do this show, I was working on the page and I kept watching the clock going, only 5, I got to put this down in 5 minutes. I don't want to put it down. Like that. I feel like if I put that same energy into this book, people that pick it up will inherently feel it.
Well, I've seen the pages, and it's
Yeah.
showing, man. Whatever you're doing, it's getting into the work.
And it's truly a passion project too. You can tell
100%, 100%.
You're just giving it your all, and there's nothing better than giving your all to something you own.
That's right.
Yep.
Queen Bee, our delightful and lovely Queen Bee, who we all adore. I had the hope to bring Megan's short stories to print, but not the way. Now I do and will. CG Field of Dreams. Hell, CG. She was a huge Yankees fan. All right, Graham. Go
All
Yankees.
right.
I just got a text from Joe Jusko, so I don't think they're doing so well, because I think
What?
Jusko said Joe Jusko texted. I got me, Frank Thierry, and Joe Jusko Yankee fans. So Joe just said, "What the fuck?" So something happened.
Oh, no.
So I don't know. It's not doing too. Whatever. So thank you, Queen Bee, for that. And hail all the Brofessionals.
Yes.
So, all right, let's go to who's next? Whose campaign haven't I covered yet?
Art.
Oh, Art. Sorry, Art. Apologize, buddy.
Well, you still have yours too.
Yeah, it doesn't matter with mine.
Yeah, it does.
No, we'll hit mine later on. All right, Art Thibert, how long's your video, buddy?
It's short.
All right.
Is this the new one?
No, this isn't the new one yet. That will go up tomorrow.
You could debut it here.
Yeah, the bros.
Yeah, you big dummy.
Yeah, big dummy. Big dummy. What are we, Sanford and Son?
Just can only be black. Extraordinary.
Yeah, I do have the new video if you have time, but
I do. Do you want to cue it up? In the meantime, why don't you cue that video up? We'll debut your new one.
okay,
But,
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll grab it.
What a delightful surprise we have here. Yours,
Okay.
mine, and all of ours only. Good old Uncle E. Ethan Van Skyver.
Where's my
What's
intro
up, brother?
video? Hi. Hi, guys.
Did I get
What's
the
up?
intro video?
I want an intro video. I give you guys intro videos.
I haven't had an intro video.
I know,
Hello.
not yet. You all
Started
will.
this gangster shit. That's the motherfucking thanks I get.
Yeah, no, here's Ethan's. I'm sorry, Ethan. Here is your intro video.
Here we go.
Now wait a second. That's not my intro video. How dare you?
How dare you?
Oh man.
Well, Ethan, I'm causing quite a controversy with the opening video, the high tea, that you stole my salmon. So there's hashtags going around like Ethan stole Art's salmon, never steal a man's or take a man's fish out of his mouth, just a bunch of stuff like that. So
Wow.
yeah.
I just think you're fishing for compliments.
Well,
No, I got two versions of that, so I will decide if you get a fish or not every time you come in. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious, man. The one with the fish in my mouth is actually pretty comedic gold. Yeah.
let's play that.
That's
Ethan,
how
we're having a
art goes
great old
fishing.
time today. We're talking about a mainstream comic book news blackout of CG projects, and does it matter if there is?
Doesn't seem to.
It does not seem to be. We got a super chat right now. The Ryan Cardinal, Canadian $5. Thank you very much, eh? Yo, bros, congrats on your campaigns. I just launched my book, Kaya's an IGG, and headed towards the first 100 backers. Check out the fully animated trailer. Thank you very much. Why don't you post that link in there so we can share it?
Yeah, I saw the video. I played it last night. It's great, man. It's all fully animated. The book is kind of manga, black and white style. It looks fantastic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, so I've been hearing a lot about this, Ethan. Promote the SJW versus CG debate tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
What
that's
is
right.
this debate
is it
that so
happening?
many are talking about?
It is happening. I received my apology. Well, I mean, they can't just do like. Here's the thing. Like, I saw a Goonie Beard Man. You know what a Goonie Beard Man is?
I don't know.
A Goonie Beard Man has a long, unkempt beard. Usually, it's ginger. Usually he's a ginger, and he wears big glasses and everything like that. No, he's not bald. He's almost never bald, but he's overweight and he loves his pets. And I found a couple of Goonie Beard men talking. And they're talking about Comicsgate and saying some weird things. I said, why don't you just come on the stream and let's debate. Let's talk about it. And he said,
they like a lot of debate. Those guys, they love mass debate.
Yes, I said, well, they said, well, when? Or no, I said, well, let's just go on a stream. And the guy goes, I can't do it now. I have a life. I'm very busy. And I was like, well, when can you do it? And he goes, 3 weeks from today.
Oh, jeez.
3 weeks from today. Like, that sounds weird. Like, I don't think, like, nobody has that much of a life. I mean, I certainly don't. I could live stream at the drop of a hat, but you need to schedule out 3 weeks. And then he took a picture of his desk calendar and it had nothing written on it except for debate on the 17th. That was a tactical error.
He needed the time to gather whatever evidence he thinks they may find.
Well, sure, and that's fine. What I didn't like was he coordinated. He's friends with this guy whose name is Forced Adversity. Get it? Like forced
adversity.
So he
diversity. I get
right.
It.
He's a major anti-comic. Well, when I say major, he's got 4,000 subs, but he's a pretty big anti-Comicsgate YouTuber, one of the biggest in a very small pool of dummies. But he makes all these videos that are extremely dishonest. I mean, terribly dishonest. And anyway, I found out that he said, hey, this debate is coming up. Watch it on my friend's channel, Forced Adversity. Watch the debate that I'm having with Ethan Van Sciver on this channel. And I said, hey, what are you doing advertising, our debate? He's going to stream snipe our show. Why are you telling people to go over there when they should come? The whole point is they come watch it on my channel. Yeah, and he said, no reason. And it, basically what it was going to be, as it turns out, is, they had spent 3 weeks, building these questions that were essentially traps. Gotcha questions. So he and I would be having a debate. What's 1 + 1, Ethan? And I'd say 2. And his friend would be stream sniping the show and going, wrong, it's 3, and here it's proof. And then would be fact checking me real time on a stream where all of the SJWs are watching. And I said, that's bullshit. That's not fair. And I said, in fact, I won't, that cannot be allowed to happen. And also, it's like, I will invite that guy to come on the stream. Like, so it could be 2-on-1. I'll take both of you weirdos on, together. And he refused and blocked me on YouTube, or blocked me on Twitter, shut down his whole channel.
Why?
Wow.
I don't know. It was very peculiar.
Very curious.
Quite a reaction to me saying, hey, I see what you guys are doing. This is a tactic. This does not work. This is not fair. And the reason why it's not fair is because, I should, if the debate that they're directing people to is one-sided and happening somewhere where I can't answer back, then that just seems like, that seems like a scam.
Bad
tomfoolery.
It seems, yeah, I would say that. I would say that is tomfoolery.
Yes.
I would say that is flim-flammery.
Yeah, it seems like bullying to me. They're gonna bully.
I don't know word about being bullied. My whole is if I don't care what your talking points are, but let me address them. And maybe you'll call me out on something and I'll be stumped. But I mean, the idea that you're gonna sit there and basically, why can't I answer this guy too? Fact checking without having me fact checking your fact checking. That's what a debate is. When you fact check me and I fact check your fact check, and then one of us eventually is silenced by reality or the truth or the better argument. That's what a debate is. Otherwise, it's just one guy saying whatever he wants. It's a monologue. And which, again, you're allowed to do. If you guys wanted to do that and stream snipe the show and then fact check this guy on my behalf and then say whatever you could do that if you wanted to. The problem would be if I coordinated with you. And I said, Comicsgate, everyone go over to Graham Nolen's channel to watch this show. He's going to shut this soy boy up. It's cowardice.
Right.
It's just
Also, how do you fact? I mean, no offense to Goonie Beard, but how do you fact check a nobody?
Well, we can fact check, whatever they say about. I don't know what they're interested in talking about. But I made some rules with this guy behind the scenes, and I said, I don't know if where you guys are, but I see who you're talking to, and I will tell you this: if personal matters come up, if you guys want to go live in order to talk to me about my divorce, in order to do all of my finances, the things that you guys titter with each other about, if that's what this is. We're not going to do this. I'll pull the plug on that real quick. No, I would never do that. That's a low blow. Okay, that's fine. So I thought we made fair rules. And the reason why it was kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to do that is because they had this other thing planned. The whole plan is just to have all the SJWs on that channel fact checking me in quotes real time while I sit there and, fight with some palooka on my channel, which is bullshit.
Bad form,
bad faith, bad everything. And I don't understand it. What is so scary about me? I'm a nice fellow. I'm not that smart. My IQ is 126. It isn't that. I'm not that smart. I'm smarter than average, but I'm not, a genius. And frankly, a lot of people are smarter than me and should be able to take me out right to my face. If
their cause is just and their answers are right, then they don't need to work with trickery and witchcraft and all these things that they're trying to do and get behind the scenes.
They
but
firmly believe what they're saying.
That's right.
Then what's the problem?
I'm here to do entertainment, though. That's the main thing.
Well,
the main thing is let's entertain. I'm happy to do a debate, talk about this if you want. With SJWs, it's great that they're willing to. I mean, the weird thing is it's like, why are they willing to do this? Oh, because they have a scam. It's like, that's why. You guys, you can't just be upfront about this. You can't. It's got to be a scam. You got to take 3 weeks to prepare.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it's a lot of promotion for them too, because your channel's so huge. So, I mean, they're getting something.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, speaking of fat checks. And I think that's what you've been saying is fat checks.
Did you get a fat check?
Weren't you just talking for the past 2 minutes about fat checks?
Yes.
So speaking of fat checks, $503,726,000 for the first wave Cyber Frog action figures that have just gone in demand. My golly, my friend.
Yeah, that's good.
Done.
We're over 500,000 now, and that means that I gotta make new images of what the toys are going to look like with the bonus items that go in there.
That's right. Well, let's take a look at the video.
Oh my God, no, because it's old. Like I gotta replace that video. It's sitting there saying at $800,000 we're gonna do this. We're not gonna get to $800,000.
All right.
So I changed. I got to put a new video in there, but.
Well, I could, maybe I should run the Andy's First Man video again. The 30-second one. Let's do that. I fucking love that, dude. I love that video. I have to just do it, Andy, because I want you to do the voiceover for the She Sakura.
I'm down. But, I'm totally down.
Let's hit with this. Here we are. Andy Smith. Andy sits right now at $32,755,000. Thank you all very much. But let's do a little video here.
That's the one.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth, and now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from a number before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. Look at these 4 people. He's before the villain known as Adonis. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2. Learning Curve.
Not available in stores.
That's right.
That is not available. Would you say not available in stores?
There you go. Not available in stores.
Not available in stores.
That's right.
Well done. Real quick, I just want to do. Let me close out of that, and we have a super chat here. To go back, Ethan, we were talking about getting into working with local comic book shops about getting our books into the comic shops. And is it worth it?
You think it's time? You want to do it?
I think 2022 is time to really start to explore that. We have some very CG-friendly people working at Diamond Comic Distributors who are just chomping at the bit. So that's a discussion that's for off camera. But I buy so few comics at my local comic shop these days, but a lot of back issues. I'm relying on you guys to give me that new comic thrill. Andy, can you read that?
What's that?
Can you read this, Andy?
I buy so few comics at my local comic shop these days, but a lot of back issues. I'm relying on you guys to give me that new comic thrill.
Yeah, nice.
There it is.
Well, you got it with Black and White Man versus Machine Volume 2.
Yeah.
Look at these
all right,
Man versus machine in a world.
Ethan, are we doing this? So the debate is on. So can I go to my local liquor store, buy my wife a bottle of wine, buy myself a nice bottle of Lagavulin 15-year-old, light up a cigar, sit in my chair on my porch, smoke my cigar, drink my scotch, and am I watching a debate tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time?
Yes.
Yes. And where are we
7
watching
p.m.
this?
Time
My channel. Yeah,
Comic,
yeah.
Comic Artist
7 p.m.
Pro Secrets tomorrow.
I told that guy, I said, just look, I want to do the debate, but I can't, I feel disrespected. Don't treat me like a bitch. I'm not a bitch. Apologize to me. And he mealy mouthed for a long time. And then finally said, I'm sorry, Ethan Banskyver. I was like, done. That's all I wanted. To apologize for this stupid chicanery.
Does he know
chicanery? Yes.
Flawless of comics?
I don't know what they're, it's going to be a bunch of questions about how I'm a bad person. They'll probably talk me into it, so we'll see how that goes.
Now, are you going to bring anybody else on? Like, will you have a second? Will they have a second, or is it just you and
John Malin?
No, it's just me. One of the rules was it could be just me. And that's it. And he was very weird. He said, super chats are allowed. I understand that's a thing. And everything that he said, I was like, what is the catch here? What are you doing? But
enough SJWs that will spend money on a super chat. I don't know too many.
No, I don't either. I don't expect to get super chats from any SJWs. I think what it is he said, and he goes, and you will not share racist or homophobic chats on the screen. I said, what? When we are like, what
the heck?
When have you done that?
Where are those at?
I don't.
Well,
that's not who we are.
Control of it. You don't have control of that. If somebody wants to post it, they can post it.
Well, no, I mean, you click and you share it on the screen. I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? So anyway, I hope it goes okay. I hope it's not. First of all, I hope I make people proud of me. I hope I don't humiliate you like I usually do. That's a big important issue.
We appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yes, and I hope it goes well. I hope there's no weird traps and all that. These are all things that you got to. These people are rats. They're literally
there can't be any traps, man. There's no traps.
Well, I mean, people were like, they can sit there and use the N-word in the chat over and over again, and then report you for hate speech and get your channel taken down. I don't think that's
you
true.
mean that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So okay. I gotta get my mods. I gotta count my mods tomorrow night for real. I mean, I love them.
I'm a mod. I'll help work it.
They just got to be on there with the bots and everything because it's going to be a big turnout. The interesting thing is we're going up against Friday Night Tights, which was not my choice, but if I embarrass myself on this show, that's cool. Nobody will be watching it. They're watching Friday Night Tights.
How do you trap a sunbeam?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. How do you trap a sunbeam?
You can't. It's just
nothing's faster than the speed of light.
That's right.
I predict a lot of gaslighting from me. I predict a lot of rhetorical traps and disingenuousness from me.
What from you?
Yes.
Now, what are did you call him Goonie Beard, Goober Beard?
Goonie Beard Man.
Goonie Beard.
Gamergate term.
Okay, so Goonie Beard Man. What are his credentials? Like, what do you like? Are you going in against a mental juggernaut, or like
he's not stupid? I hate to say this about Dan Shaheen, but Dan's not that bright. I'm never afraid to talk to Dan Shaheen. He thinks he's smart, but we've seen Dan Shaheen's. You've seen my interviews with Dan Shaheen.
I love Dan. I love Dan because he's entertaining. Yeah, I love Dan.
So it's like he'll go.
Just be yourself. Be funny.
That's right. Yeah, this guy's going to be smart. I think he's going to have a higher IQ than mine. He's had 3 weeks to prepare to prove his thesis that Comicsgate is invalid. I think that's what he's calling the interview. I don't know.
Thesis. I think you will make him genuinely laugh. He will catch himself laughing and go, "Oh my," a couple times, and you might win him over.
We'll just see what happens. I don't care. Who cares?
Maybe you get Anna to be a moderator.
What does he mean by validity of Comicsgate? Like
is Comicsgate valid? We put forth this proposition that it might not be.
But he'd have to have a good argument, because I don't. It is valid. It's making money. There's crowd. Like, it just seems like a moot point to even argue. Like, it is what it is.
Okay, so what do they say about us? What is their complaint about Comicsgate? First of all, they say, look, it's a grift. That's the first thing. The second thing is the comic industry is growing. It's not shrinking. And you guys say that it's shrinking, but it's doing better than ever. I mean, all of these things, I got to just let wash off me like a duck's back. It's right. Who cares? If you say so. Complaint that we're racist, bigot, homophobes. I mean, is it a deposition where they only get to grill you, or do you get time and can grill back? I can do whatever I want. It's just a conversation,
Okay.
It's just I don't have anything to say. I mean, I'd be happy to. I want to talk. Basically, I just got off a stream talking about the Green Lantern movie, and we talked about the Green Lantern movie, which was horrific. And they asked me what my central thesis was, my closing argument. And, I said, Green Lantern is about never giving up. That is what Green Lantern is all about. It tries to encourage you to never give up. However, I'd like to tell these filmmakers to give up. Never make another film again. Never again. But I took the opportunity, by the way, to just talk about Comicsgate, because that's what I like. I like to talk about Comicsgate. We want to talk about why Superman is gay now. We'll talk about that. I will tell you why. A lot of times Comicsgaters discuss these things in the wrong way. Like, there's no audience for this. Why is this happening? These people don't even read comics. They don't care. And that's just not why any of this is happening. It's like, that's just not the reality of things. And, SJWs succeed in comics for a bunch of different ways. We are not going to get attention for our campaigns. We are not. We do not help what is actually happening to the comic book industry. We counter it. We'll never get the attention if we're looking for validation from communists. It's just we're barking up the wrong tree. These people have figured out a way to flatter corporate interests, their social interests, to make arguments that the comic book industry and other industries like it are bigoted, and they're the answer to solving that problem, hiring them. At this point, we've actually got Warner Brothers using virtue signaling SJW tactics to cover the fact that they're robbing the Siegel family from their Superman royalties. Every 10 years, this is the thing to understand. Every 10 years, the Siegel family has been using a new law that says that they can go to court, they can challenge the ownership of Superman because of this new law, which says creators who gave their properties away for peanuts decades ago, that is no longer, that is something that you can legally question now. You can legally say that was not fair, that they sold Superman to you for $80. That's ridiculous. Our family should be billionaires now. And we take you to court. This happens every 10 years. It happened in 2001. It happened in 2011. And Warner Brothers panicked in 2011. And what happened? The New 52, an entire restructuring of the DC universe in order to cover the fact that they had to change Superman to protect the trademark. Remember, 3 different versions of Superman? No spit curl. He was wearing jeans. No more boots, no red underpants. They had to change the S logo. Everything that they did for the New 52 was in panic of the fact that they were in court with Jerome Siegel's family to protect and deny them the royalties that they were due and the ownership over Superman. And they had to change certain trademarkable elements of Superman in order to protect themselves should they lose that case. They lost that case. That was 2011. What year is it now?
2021, but they're not doing anything to Superman in 2021. They're not changing.
They're sending him to another planet, and they're calling it. They're sending Superman to another planet. They're shelving Superman. They're establishing Jonathan Kent, a brand new character called Superman. And in order to cover this all up, they've got this virtue signaling PR push for the New York Times that Superman is now queer. If that isn't sinister, if that doesn't explain to you what we're up against right now as a movement, or just as creative people trying to defend a hobby that's been hopelessly hijacked by political activists, I don't know what else is going to do it, fellas. You know, this is now we've got Warner Brothers going, yeah, SJW tactics will work for us to cover the corruption, to cover what we're doing to the families of the creative people we've exploited for this many decades. That's where we are. So Comicsgate is more important than it's ever been. You know, and the answer is not to go and fight them about whether Superman is gay and it's just understand what it is and then build something else, which is what we're trying to do here. It's unfortunate. It's really sad and it's scary, but this all, I mean, you know, we've got political activists, far left-wing, radical left-wing socialists, communists, who want to use every bit of pop culture, hobby, medium, everything as a bullhorn for their agenda. And they do that by pretending that they're interested in diversity, sexism, fighting racism. It's a shield. It's a way to shut anyone who opposes them up. You're racist, you're sexist, you're a bigot. Get out of our way.
See, doing something like that with history, that is perfect for your debate tomorrow. When you hit them with things like that.
This is reality. I'm right and they're wrong. Yeah. So I worked at DC. I understand. I talked to Dan DiDio in private. This stuff is stuff, by the way, that people don't know, and even people who work at DC are not let in on. We just go, oh, we got to draw Superman like this for some reason now. Why? That doesn't make sense. This is why. Each and every one of us participated in the system that robbed the family of the man who created the modern superhero icon, the comic book, the superhero comic book. All of us have been responsible in our own way by working for DC, by buying their comics. We have been responsible for keeping the family. I mean, think about being the great grandkids of the man who created Superman and still worrying about keeping your lights on. That's the industry that we contribute to every single day, and it's shameful. It is shameful.
Agreed.
So now let's talk about Bill Finger.
Well, I got I don't know, man. That rant, Aaron's rants, and I'm going to steal this from you, EVS, if you don't mind, but I have to, because that rant right there, man, oh man, was that or was that not like fire tonight?
Oh,
that's really the reason why I'm watching. I don't want to play it too much.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you.
Anyway,
it's a celebratory song. It makes me want to drink.
It does. It does. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
It makes lots of people want to drink, Dan.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night to drink. Aaron's looking forward to getting sauced himself. He's going to get all liquored up over there. And looking forward to the debate, buddy.
Yeah.
So I want to thank guys. We're hitting at 10:35. We've been going on for 2.5 hours. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. on Comic Artist Pro Secrets, correct?
That's correct.
Excellent.
And just so debate. Yeah, Ethan, you're not alone, man. We're all going to be there.
Oh, great!
We'll be your corner. We'll be your corner, man. Wait. When you get a cut, we'll fix the cut. We'll have the spit bucket for you.
All right. I'll try to be happy. I just want to enjoy talking to the soy boy. I do. I'm looking forward to it. It's not every day I can debate, you guys about stuff that we disagree with, modern things, but or tiny things, but actually debating somebody who hates you is going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Indeed. Yes. And thank you for the Canadian $10 super chat. That ain't cheap, eh? We RCG just need to keep pressing forward against all the BS and make kick-ass projects. Projects like everyone on the panel and the new smaller projects like Caius. Got them all now. Caius on Indiegogo. It's Caius or Caius?
He's got to tell us if it's Kai or K.
Yeah.
Because I think it's Caius.
I think
So
it's
do I.
Caius too. But KS sounds badass. Back them
Yes.
now on Indiegogo. Thank you.
Aaron, how do you pronounce it?
How do I pronounce it?
Yeah.
I look at it. That first thing I see is kayak, so I'm going to go Caius.
All
There you
right.
go.
And
You know what I see? I see back it now.
There you go.
And of course,
Very
we have
good.
Andino's going to be very excited about being on watching tomorrow. He'll be nude with bells on. So you guys are awesome. Love you guys. Thank you all for this. Ethan, thank you for coming on and joining us tonight.
I would have been sooner. I just had a prior engagement. I'm sorry for that.
That's quite, no, it's greatly appreciated. It was
No worries, dude.
Keith said 2.5 hours is in Ethan's warm-up stream.
That's right.
So yeah, I want to get a little work done. I'm writing my letter right now for the back of the omnibus edition, and that's like the hardest thing is to write like a 2-page letter thanking everyone and trying to talk about what was going on 25 years ago and how fortunate I am. So I got to nail this and finish that bad boy tomorrow.
The true art of writing is rewriting. Just write what you feel and then go back and edit it.
Yeah, that's what I did. It's a mess. I got a lot of editing to do. So, all right, I love you guys. You guys are all fantastic. Everyone, please back all these projects. I didn't share mine at all, so I'm going to share mine real quick if that's okay, guys.
Do it.
Now we got to leave.
I'll see you
gotta
later,
go.
Billy.
Everybody leaves at the same time.
Oh man, just 2 seconds. The Xi'an.
I'm gonna bust a rhyme.
We're at 156,000. Let me refresh and see if we got any more. No, okay, 156,501. Thank you guys so much. We're on our way to $160,000. This book is going to press the interiors next week. The covers are already there, being set for proofing, and the book goes to press next week. So for proofing. So thank you all for that.
Awesome.
Truly appreciate it. The Jack Show is at 9:15. The Jack Show is coming on, or it's on already. I don't know. But let me stop screen. All right, guys. Everyone have a great night. Thank you all. Please support these campaigns. We'll see you guys all tomorrow on Comic Artist Pro Secrets at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna be a lot of fun with the debate. So, all right, everyone. Everyone have a great night. Let me hit my little goodbye.
Bye.
And where is that? My video ending. Now it's got all these things, man. Now,
This is great.
Kiss.
It's like magic. We can't see what's going on behind the curtain.
I
mean,
know.
Billy's a skilled broadcaster here.
Skilled broadcast,
He
but
is.
Niall's got 50 different endings and
He
stuff.
needs to
now.
label
Says
it
end
properly.
broadcast. Just
Yeah.
button that says end broadcast.
No, he has an
We're getting-
outro.
There is none that says it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm ending the broadcast.
Up close.
Oh,
Suck,
what is
girl.
that?
Quick to get that.
Girl. It's a
Oh,
PVC.
yeah.
It's a Heather PVC with the best
Oh,
look
that's the PVC.
Hello.
That's a
Damn,
booty.
That's nice.
That's a booty.
It's
There
got
you
some
go.
AAT.
Isn't that great?
Slap
beautiful.
it at that.
That's beautiful. Oh,
Oh
Salamandroid.
my goodness.
Is that the
He looks
scale? Are
great.
those through the scale?
This is the Paint Master, so it's going to shrink in production. It's a little bit bigger than it's going to end up being. Cyberfrog was a little bit bigger too originally, but it's it's close.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
There you go.
Well done. All right, guys. So
Beautiful.
everyone have a good night. Thank you all. And tally ho.
Really?
Bye-bye.
See you, bro.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.